right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lunch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everybody doing tonight? Big shout out to Holly in the building. We also got our boy, Nick Lucetti. Welcome, 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 guys. We have an interesting show tonight, and I'm excited to go over it with ya. Shout out to DJ Isolated as well, on time. Well, early is on time, but just kidding. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Guys, let's just dive right in. As always, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
As part of Jubilee's Surrounded series, it's fair to say it got quite intense, especially for Dr. Peterson. Two exchanges in particular took the internet by storm.
So do you believe in the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good notion of God?
Well, it depends on what you mean. And of course, we did cover that entire thing on the channel. If you didn't see that, go check it out.
What do you mean by believe?
Do you think it to be true?
That's the circular definition. What do you mean
How
when
is
you
that
say
circular?
you believe?
How is that circular?
Because you added no content to the answer by substituting the word true and believe.
I said you think it to be true.
You're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and I mean
either you're a
because I
Christian
won't
or you're
talk
not.
to you
I'm
if
your
you're a
dad.
smartass.
Oh, either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
Okay,
I
so
don't
you're
have to
saying
tell
that you don't
you.
believe something if you wouldn't die for it?
Not really, no.
Okay. So then,
How would you define belief? Something you say?
Can I explain? Like, I could believe it is the case that this pen exists, but if someone like threatened my life, right, I would lie.
You should have just
in order to
answered
be able
in the
to
same
save
way.
my life,
It should just be like, I just told you. You think a claim to be true.
right? Like, I think you would do that too. You wouldn't lie to save your
Don't be
life.
so sure.
You wouldn't lie to save your life.
I think everyone should look at the
They cut off that badass moment. That was a badass moment from Jordan.
title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video,
You're really quite something, you are.
aren't I? But you're really quite nothing, right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Ooh. Well, now, in the wake of that video, one of Peterson's young inquisitors posted on X, Peterson was no Christian. Let's move on. Are there any actual Christians that want to debate? Which is quite the challenge. But one that, of course, we on Uncensored are only too keen to facilitate. So making their uncensored debut from the Danny Phil Talk
There we
channel,
go. All
Danny Shaw, and Parker from the Parker Get a Job channel. And we've arranged for them to take on two of the most notorious and fearsome debaters on the internet, who also happen to be conservative Christians, the king of blood sport debating, Andrew Wilson from The Crucible, and the equally forthright author, comedian, and commentator, Dyer from the Dyer channel. Welcome to all four of you.
So quite a panel here. Shout out to Ty Cobb talking about our running poll right now. Would you be in favor of a National Pride Day if it meant no more Pride Month? Yes or no, and why or why not? And Holly, let's start with Holly. Holly said, to me, a month is just excessive and ridiculous, honestly. Have your day if you really need it, but when you're grown up, you get one day. Happy birthday, that's it. I don't necessarily disagree, but, a day wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But Ty said voted no in the poll. We can get them help if they need. I refuse to be bullied into accepting someone's mental illnesses as a societal norm. Fair enough, fair enough. Hit that poll, guys. Welcome, King Nerd. United. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Let's do it.
Well, let me start with you, Parker. Were you surprised by the reaction to what went down with Jordan Peterson?
Actually, no. I was actually expecting this to happen, as I knew before this, as I watched the Alex O'Connor debate against Jordan Peterson, that he was very, very not likely to, like being associated with Christianity. So I knew actually going into this that I was going to ask him a question specifically about whether or not he believes this to be the case, and that he would likely be not very upfront with his answer. So I actually kind of expected there to be a response like this. Now, I didn't expect it to go as viral as it did, as there are literally tens of millions of views on clips associated with mine and Danny's against Jordan Peterson all over social media. So it's actually really cool to see that, everyone across the board, whether it be Christians, atheists, Muslims, right, et cetera, actually see that like he's really not wanting to answer the question there because he doesn't want to be associated with Christianity for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I don't want to be associated with Christianity as a belief a belief system, but the values, it doesn't really make sense why Peterson is so hands off.
Danny, I mean, you were the smart ass in the room, according to Jordan. What's been your reaction to the fallout?
I'm generally happy that that people can see the frustration that we have with Peterson. I would say that atheists are not the only ones that are frustrated. Christians are, right? Here we have Peterson saying things like, yeah, I think Jesus might have resurrected, but I don't know what that means.
Maybe.
Yeah, I might be a Christian in some sense. I'm a wonderful, a kind Christian. It's all wishy-washy. We're all frustrated. And I think that the video is the culmination of that frustration.
Yep.
Okay, well, the good news, like I told you, is we found two far from
Real
shy Christians to take you on in this arena.
Some real Christians.
Andrew Wilson, let me start with you. What was your reaction to these two and their showdown with Jordan Peterson?
As they're getting going, don't forget every donation comes with a treat for Morty, and we do have the Swogo 15 supers or a $50 donation total. Feed my puppy.
I mean, I kind of have to agree with Danny a little bit. Right? It's like, he, you know, like people have been wanting this guy to take the position on whether he's a Christian or not a Christian forever, on the right, the left, center, basically across the board. Now, I'll always be in some ways grateful to Jordan Peterson. He was one of the first who kind of started the trend of standing up to the pronouns people, which was pretty epic to watch. But, you know, ultimately, you know, he's kind of a shell
with the facial expressions.
His former self. He didn't look great going through that debate. He looked kind of run down. I think that him being on with the Daily Wire probably hasn't been great for him. He's not he doesn't have the kind of edge that he used to have. But ultimately, I mean, I was actually kind of glad to see it. You know, it's about time we know, are you or aren't you? You know, get off the shit or get off the pot, essentially, right?
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that.
Are you a Christian or aren't you a Christian? That's a fair question.
And Jay, I mean, ultimately, these two young men on the panel today, they're sworn atheists. You obviously are not. So if you were actually conducting a debate about their atheism against your Christianity,
what is a sworn atheist?
How would you take them on, given what happened to Jordan?
Well, it depends on what you mean, Piers. Depends on what you mean. You know, how would I take them on? Well, I think there's a lot of different ways that you could critique an atheist position. Most of the time, I argue from the three branches of philosophy: epistemology, metaphysics, and ethics. Those are just the three branches of any worldview, and everybody has a worldview, whether they know it consciously or not. So I would critique the foundations of the atheist materialist worldview to see if it's rational, if it's coherent, if it can provide a justification for knowledge or ethical oughts.
Notice how he has to say not just the atheist, but the materialist, because if you take out the materialism, then the entire argument goes down the drain.
So I think that would have been a much better route. In fact, Peterson used to kind of take that approach. Back when he debated Sam Harris, he would call out the is-ought problem with Sam Harris. When he debated Matt Dillahunty, he would call out the exact same types of preconditions for a worldview issue that I used to do, or I usually do. So I think that'd be a
And if you're an honest person, you can be an atheist and realize, yeah, there is no objective basis for this, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong or not functional in society. And these atheists choose not to take the intellectually honest route.
better route than just sort of having this ambiguous, Jungian position of non-committal, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say to you, Parker and Danny, that I've interviewed Jordan Peterson a lot, maybe 5-6 times on Uncensored. Quite long interviews, often quite emotional. He's an emotional guy. I would disagree with Andrew about him losing his edge. I think he's still got the edge. I also think that, putting aside the whole debate about Christianity and whether he is or not, he's always been oddly ambiguous about it to someone who's so unambiguous about everything else. But that's his right. He's entitled to do that. As a force for good, though, for young men, I do think that in comparison, for example, to Andrew Tate, that Jordan Peterson has been a far
once our month
better influence over the minds of young men of your kind of age than someone like Andrew Tate would ever be. Would you agree with that, Parker?
I actually would agree with that, although the bar is literally in hell.
Why can't you just say yes? Why do you always have to be have to add some schmarmy bullshit? Like, it's a straightforward question. Like, okay, yeah, obviously young men are looking for role models, and some go towards more of a Jordan Peterson, and some go more towards of a Andrew Tate. And as much as I may agree or disagree, clearly Jordan Peterson is a better role model than Andrew Tate. Just say, why do you always have to be like taking a dig?
Right. I mean, you must see some positives in the general messaging that Jordan gives for young men about wanting to improve their lives, wanting to empower themselves, opening up and so on. I mean, do you accept that about him?
I think it's good to open up, and I think it's good for like men to like want to improve their lives, but we also need to be very specific on like what is improving towards their lives. And I honestly don't think that like Jordan Peterson, like within all respects, would be upholding that. But sure, I could say he's better than someone like Andrew Tate. Like I think that's, you know, pretty obvious.
Just immediately starting on the high horse. It's like, yeah, I guess they're all terrible, but I suppose.
Danny, what's your view of Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson when it comes to their influence on young men? Because it is huge.
Yeah,
with both of them. I can tell you, when I walk around, you know, most people under 25 who are male come up and they ask me either about Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, I feel like
which says a lot on its own, but we'll leave that for another day.
The question is like asking a Republican, is Joe Biden better than like Mussolini, right? I mean, it's such a vast difference. I would say that it seems like that Jordan Peterson has.
Should call him a Bobby. Good old Bobby Saget.
I mean, it's such a vast difference. I would say that it seems like that Jordan Peterson has benefited people, mostly in the psychology realm, like, you know, the whole 12 rules for life and stuff, which a lot of those rules seems to be rules that my grandma could tell me. But granted, the point is that, yeah, he's probably helped people.
But did she? Yeah, clean your room is a very basic thing. But did your grandma tell you to do that? Did you think that cleaning your room was important? That's the point.
Rules that my grandma could tell me. But granted, the point is that, yeah, he's probably helped people. I have no problem saying that.
All right, Andrew, let's turn to some other issues here. One is Pride Month. Now, my view of this is I don't understand why we need a whole month for Pride. I don't even get an hour as a straight guy. So why do we need a month for Pride? And it's not because I'm remotely homophobic, because I'm not. I'm the complete opposite. I've always absolutely supported gay rights. I
have gay friends, guys.
Don't get why we need to have a month of Pride.
Well, Pride's always been completely astroturfed. I mean, to be honest, right from the very beginning, it's been astroturfed. It was always pumped full of government money, NGO funding. It was pumped full of corporate money. There was an article that came out, you can find in the Drudge Report, it came out today from, I believe it was Daily Telegram. It was pretty interesting. They went over, you know, a lot of the modern Trump administration and what they have done with their executive orders. A lot of companies have begun moving away from trying to kind of fund this, and it hasn't been popular for the last couple of years anyway. There's been a lot of pushback on various large corporations, companies, and NGOs for trying to pump kind of artificially these organizations. One of the things that article points out, which I tend to agree with, is that, hey, look, ultimately, when these companies are doing this, people lose trust for them. You remember there was a big thing with Target not that long ago. Anytime this comes to light, there's actually a backlash. People can kind of see that it's artificially held up. There's no reason.
I had a better image than this, but this is, oh, of course. This essentially is what we're talking about. 2015.
For it,
yay!
It's silly. It has never really been about gay rights. It's
gay fatigue.
That it's artificially held up. There's no reason for it.
Facts.
It's silly. It has never really been about gay rights. It's
what do you mean
about
there's no reason for it? What do you mean?
It's been well, because it's always.
What do you mean
really
there's no reason
about,
for it, right? They're bullies like you.
Do you want me to answer?
Right?
Do you want me to answer the question or no?
Yeah, you can go ahead, and I'll explain to you why I think there's a reason after.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. That's how conversations work. That indeed is how conversations. When you ask a question, you need to wait so that the other person can answer it.
Yeah, so there's no real reason for it. It's been about pushing sexual perversions, never really been about anything to do with homosexuals.
What? You mean guys being naked on the street is somehow related to sexual perversion? I don't know about that, says Parker's facial expressions.
Pushing sexual perversions, never really been about anything to do with homosexuals themselves not having rights or having rights. It's never been about that. It's been about weird gay pride parades and all kinds of weird sexual stuff. It really has never been about that. And that's what the American people think. That's what they see. That's why you see companies moving away from it.
I don't think that's true. Look, they're
It is true. I wish I could find the exact one that I'm talking about, but they actually took the logos during Pride Month of, I think it was 2020, and, you know, they were all rainbow. And then in 2025, June 1st, not one in sight. I mean, there's definitely a bunch of them, but the big ones.
Gay people, like, let's take you, for example. You're the reason, right? When I first talked to you, right, we were having a normal debate about, I think, morality. And then you randomly asked me, what's your, you know, are you a homosexual?
And you were, right?
Down, right? And then
right?
also with,
but hang on, was I right, though? Was I right?
I'm not homosexual. No, I'm married to a woman.
You were bisexual. You said that you were bisexual.
Right.
That's homosexual.
Is not the same as bisexual.
There's certain.
Yeah, but you know exactly what the fuck they meant.
Definitions of terms, but
look,
the point is that people like you and Jay Dyer, people like you and Jay Dyer bully LGBTQ people.
Yeah,
that's why
bullied,
it's pride, because of the kind of stigmas that you promote.
Okay, so here's the thing that's so funny about this is like if both me and Jay Dyer, both of us assumed that you were a homosexual and both of us were right. That's what's so funny about it. We
Again,
both assumed you were
why
gay,
say I'm homosexual?
and we were both correct that you were gay.
Andrew, is there anything wrong with him being gay?
I mean, you're trying to make an argument when you lost. You lost. You look like a gay to them, and they were right. What else do you want? Nick said, no one thing that gets called Christian morals. It's actually unique to Christianity. All of the moral values existed before Christianity was even an idea. I tire of Christianity claiming morality. Not a one. And I mean, I'll give, to play devil's advocate there, Christianity has been the best at collecting all of those values and giving people a reason to follow them, but they're not unique to Christianity. Not even a little bit.
You were gay, and we were both correct that you were gay.
Andrew, is there anything wrong with him being gay?
Huh?
Is there anything wrong with him being gay?
There's a problem with you guys supporting NGO-funded kind of AstroTurf program to promote rights, which aren't even about promoting rights.
Was that a response to what you said?
The whole ordeal here is, well, what's the prompt, Parker? The prompt is about pride, and so you're supporting an AstroTurfed, completely AstroTurf NGO-funded thing. It has nothing to do with gay rights at all, and people don't.
Oh damn! A shout out to ChatGPT here. It wasn't even 2020. It was last year. Apple, all rainbow. This year, nothing. IBM, HP. What is this? American Airlines. Same old Paramount. And then Vogue even said, no, thank you. We are done with this shit. We are done.
Completely AstroTurf NGO funded thing. It has nothing to do with gay rights at all, and people don't like it, Parker. They don't like it, Parker.
Well, Parker, I would ask Parker this. Look, I mean,
yeah, I agree. DJ Escalated said a number of the commandments were clearly not so obvious to people, thus their creation. And we can have a whole discussion about, how the first four don't really have anything to do with morality and blah, 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 blah. But clearly that is the case. People needed to be told in direct terms what they should be doing and why. And I personally think that we can advance that and do better than the Bible and Christianity, but we don't have anything that's set and ready to go that is better than Christianity.
Look, Andrew, you said some things which I completely disagree with about this issue. You said women will never truly understand why men find homosexuality so depraved. We don't think there's a problem there. We know there's a problem there. I'm a man. I don't find homosexuality remotely depraved. I think people's sexuality is what it is.
I am not repulsed by the idea that someone else would be into another dude. I'm not repulsed by that idea, but I am repulsed by any actuality of it. And so that's why it's like, okay, that's not for me. So if you want to do it, go ahead. But there is a definite primal thing that's just like, ugh. I've told the story before about how there were these two girls that I worked with, and me and the bartender at this restaurant. The two girls wanted to hang out, came over to my house, and one girl was, whatever. And so I'm hooking up with one girl, and then the bartender, my boy, comes in, and we were gonna double team her. Then my leg touched his leg. And I was like, nope. Over. So, I don't know. I kind of agree with Andrew.
Sexuality remotely depraved. I think people's sexuality is what it is. So I don't agree with you with some of the statements you've made. However, Parker, I am increasingly bemused why, when there are so many important things in the world to worry about, we devote a whole month to gay pride. Why do we?
That's fair, Ty. Totally fair.
There are plenty of things that we specifically have months for to celebrate that I think are incredibly important. This, in this specific example, is incredibly important because of the dehumanization and the bigotry espoused specifically by people like Jay Dyer and Andrew Wilson, and explicitly kicking people off of their panels because they're gay, right, or because they're homosexual, which I think is incredibly ridiculous.
But you know as well as I do, Parker,
if you compare it,
well, hang on, I would say if you go back 35.
Notice how when the Parker and Dean, they're famous for doing their TikTok debates where it's so easy to just mute and kick people. They're not good in situations where they don't have that control. And he tries to, just go on and like, motherfucker, no, this is my show. I told you to shut the fuck up, so shut the fuck up.
ridiculous.
But you know
Right,
as
they
well
have
as I
such a-
do,
they have such
Parker,
a-
that
can I please finish?
if you
Can I please
compare
finish,
it,
Piers?
look, well, hang on, I'll say, if you go back 35, 40 years, I would completely agree with you. But the idea that that is still the case today, I just don't feel it. Do you? I mean, certainly
Piers,
young
have you
people,
never been on
young people
Twitter?
in particular, do not. It's just moved
Piers,
on. isn't it?
respectfully, how would you know as a straight person? Like, how would you, do you experience
Piers,
it?
look,
Why are you assuming my
I want
sexuality?
to talk about Piers. I want to talk about my experience when I went viral. Piers, when I went viral.
Shout out to Amanda Price. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Very good to see you. And thank you to everybody who has already hit the like button. If you are new, make sure you are subscribed. I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. One subscribe equals one version of world peace.
Assuming my
I
sexuality.
want to talk about Piers. I want to talk about my
Because you've
experience
talked
when I
about
went viral. Piers, when I went viral, right? I had people message, saying, calling me the F slur, saying I had a gay lisp, right? When I'm married to a woman, right? If I'm not even a homosexual, and if people are bullying me for that, I can't imagine what actual homosexuals have to go through. So
What do you,
there's
if you don't mind me
constantly-
asking, given it's now been sort of raised, and I'm not quite sure, are you straight? Are you bisexual? What's the
I'm
deal?
bisexual. I've been married to a woman happily for 5 years, and we're monogamous.
Okay. All
Two
right.
atheists. I want to chime in.
All right.
We have two atheists on the panel that have said that I
See,
bullied
like this
them.
kind of
and
behavior. Look at this behavior.
yeah, that's
This behavior, this putting a G in front of a word. Oh my God.
we have two atheists on the panel that have said that I
See, like
bullied
this
them.
kind of
and
behavior. Look at this behavior.
that's called a joke. That's called a joke.
Yeah,
Sensitive
so
man.
funny, Dyer.
Oh my
It's a
God.
homophobic.
I found it funny, and I am an atheist. And going back to the title of this stream, why men are leaving the left. Why men are leaving the left.
Big show.
Behavior. This behavior is out
Well,
of
you are
control.
two atheists.
That's too
so
much
it's not
behavior.
very
Bad
good.
behavior.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Are you guys Christians? I thought we're supposed to be loving to thy neighbor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
the only
love
thing-
also includes
but-
telling you when it's wrong.
Don't you
so.
love trans people, Parker? You said that you would date a trans person. Remember that? Or was
Yeah,
it-
and what's wrong with
I mean,
that?
I think
Wait, oh, we might need to do a side quest. Who has not seen Parker dying to try to dance around the fact that he would fuck a tranny?
don't you love trans people, Parker? You said that you would date a trans person. Remember that? Or was
Yeah,
it-
and what's wrong
I
with
mean,
that?
I think that
What's
you're
wrong with
I
that?
guess you
It's
are more
gay.
loving than me than Parker. I wouldn't date a trans person. But,
Okay,
hey,
okay.
he's
Is that
right.
supposed to be like
Two
a critique of
atheists.
me?
So the
Wait,
problem
what
is
happened to being
that
loving?
these guys
I asked,
can't
I
give
asked
an
you as
account
Christians.
for the
I called
good.
for you as Christians to be loving.
All they've
and both
talked
of you did
about
not
is
show
what's
loving. You
right
just
and
You don't
showed
know what
being-
loving
you showed
means.
being
You don't even know what that
bigoted.
means.
All right,
All right,
Yeah,
let's not
yeah.
talk over each other because then we're going to overhear. Jay.
Yeah. So earlier in the first section, when we talked about Peterson, we were talking about what was good for men.
Yeah.
And whether Tate was
Got him.
good or Peterson was good. And now we're talking about
All right, got it. Hold on, a little side quest here. Just to kind of highlight who exactly it is that we're talking with here. So give me a second, and we'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. So yeah, this is our same buddy boy Parker. Let's see what he's got to say.
My attraction doesn't stop with trans people. I'm not attracted to trans people. Is that enough for you? Can you now stop asking me about questions? I've been very clear.
what?
I've been
I mean, to be fair, he's just out and out saying it. Like the other day, I was like, hey, Blair White wanted to give me head. I probably wouldn't stop it.
I've been very
not attracted to trans people. You
But keep your fucking pants on, dude.
would date a trans.
dude, I'm gonna go fucking insane.
Notice
Jake,
how he
you
You
muted
just
person.
admitted you would date a trans woman.
I said that my
Muting
attraction does
again.
not stop with trans people, right? That trans people can be attractive to me. Can you please stop annoying me with this now? Please, can you stop annoying me with this? You are honestly right now crossing my boundaries. I'm not trying to talk about what is attractive to me. Okay, is that a boundary that I can place, or do I have to kick you off the live?
Yes. You're good. You're good.
Jesus Christ, dude! I don't know what the hell is wrong with you. Like seriously, this is incredibly invasive. As a person, as a human
Okay,
being,
I'm sorry.
You are being
I'm sorry.
you are being incredibly invasive right now.
Why? I thought it was so normal to talk about our attractions, and we're open with our preferences. And if you happen to want to fuck a dude with a dress, then to you that's supposed to be fine. You just said on the other panel, is there something wrong with it? Yet here you are, getting very triggered.
As a person, as a human
Okay,
being,
I'm sorry.
You are being
I'm sorry.
you are being incredibly invasive right now.
Okay.
Like I set that boundary like 5 or 6 times, and you continually kept doing that. I was being incredibly.
Why do you need to set that boundary multiple times? You just said Parker would bang anything with a pulse. Actually, the pulse might be optional too. Oh my goodness. I mean, I think that's a little bit more fair to put on his boy Harry Sisson, but he goes after actual females. So,
Nice to you, and I was establishing a boundary. And you have for no reason 1 second to sit there and stop and be like, oh, a person is setting a boundary with me. Let me be nice. Let me be respectful of that boundary. You have zero boundaries with people, zero understanding of how to communicate with people. It's actually ridiculous. The fact that you're on my live right now, right, is only because I'm being nice to you.
Okay. So you said you would date a trans woman. We'll move on.
Dude, I'm not on the tour. I completely disassociate myself from that.
Yeah, you're clearly on the Pride Parade tour, buddy. If you really want to date a trans
woman. Thank you so much. And honestly, under your view, who cares? Jake.
Apparently you do. You just spent the last 5 minutes saying how much you care.
Why are you so concerned with the sexual preferences of other people?
Because it collapses your logic, bro.
It didn't collapse my logic.
It's a very hard conversation, and it gets you flustered because you have to admit you're straight.
Shout out to Ty. Good luck with all that.
I am straight, and I did define what a woman is.
Are you
Does it mean
Jake,
to be straight?
Can I ask you a question? What is it?
You said you would date a trans woman, bro.
Yes, and I am straight. I already defined it for you. I referenced that it's sexual attraction towards the opposite gender. Now, can you please?
I think it's fair play, bro. I don't care if you ask me about getting pegged. I'm going to tell you no. The difference was our answer.
Wait. But you just said, you were like thinking that was like ridiculous or something, and you were trying to be like, oh, are you attracted to me because of that?
No, I think it's just disgusting getting pegged.
Why is that disgusting?
Do I need to say anything?
Oh, that shit. Number one, I'm straight. I like women, and I can actually define what a woman is.
Wait. Are you saying? Wait, is it disgusting for women to find men attractive?
No, of course not.
Why not?
Because they're women. Stupid. Shout out to hey, welcome to the party. I don't need to see a PDF show their kids as junk. We don't need to see men playing dogs in leather, crawling on the floor with their fist-sized assholes exposed to the public. I agree. I'm going to assume that is relevant to our running poll, but remember, I don't know what you guys voted. So either way, this could go for either one. Because if you're saying we don't need a whole month of this, let's just take the day, you could be saying that, or you can say no, I'm not in favor of any of it.
But disgusting for women to find men attractive.
No, of course not.
Why not?
But
you don't find men attractive.
Women are not getting pegged. Getting pegged is like
Jake, can you please acknowledge this?
We're just using the entrance to the booty hole as pegging, then I've pegged a couple girls.
You can understand that someone else has different attractions than you. You can see that if women find men attractive, right?
100%. Like you like trans women, and I don't. I recognize that.
Please stop. You can acknowledge that if women find men attractive, right, it is the case that you don't have to find men attractive, and you can acknowledge that makes sense and not say that that's disgusting. So why is it?
You could, if you believe that. If I don't believe that, then I would say something different.
The case that you have to point towards certain people's sexual attractions when we're talking about consenting adults, right? And you point to that and you be like, that's disgusting, right?
And so you can see already in this, I only just brought this up to make fun of him, but you can see in right in the same sentence, he will switch back and forth between, is there something wrong with that? And then do you personally like it? And he switches between the two, more semantic obfuscation.
Yes.
Why? Wait, like, that's disgusting, right?
Yes.
Why?
What's wrong with thinking something's disgusting?
No, but like, why do you consider it disgusting?
Because I don't want something in my butt, man.
Jake, because you're homophobic as fuck. That's the point that I'm getting to.
If you don't want things in your butt, then you're homophobic. I did not know that was part of the definition, but hey, with liberals, we're learning new definitions every single day.
A homophobic, bigoted piece of shit, and that's why it is the case that you associate these
because you don't want to get pegged
particular actions to be quote unquote disgusting, because you can understand that people have different attractions, right? When it comes to women to finding men attractive, even though you don't find men attractive, but for some reason you can't find that type of attraction or understand that type of attraction when it comes to gay people because you're a homophobic piece of shit.
That is so wild. Shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome to the party. This is Parker, who is doesn't understand why getting pegged is gross to some people, and also would fuck a tranny. So no. I was gonna say something though. Isn't disgusting adaptation true? But I mean technically. But wait, what did you just say?
Attractive, even though you don't find men attractive. But for some reason, to be quote unquote disgusting, because you can understand that people have different attractions, right? When it comes to women finding men attractive, even though you don't find men attractive, but for some reason you can't find that type of attraction or understand that type of attraction when it comes to gay people because you're a homophobic piece of shit.
Okay.
And so it goes the other way, that if you see that it's fine, to celebrate getting pegged, and he thinks it's disgusting. So now let's take the next step. Thinking that it's disgusting to you is not preferable. Thinking that it's disgusting is his default position. How is this any different? My positions are right because they're mine, and your positions are wrong because they're yours. I mean, that's putting it mildly.
Hey, sure, bro, but we're gonna look back. You're gonna look back in about 10 years and be like, I really said on a live stream I would date a trans woman. And you're gonna be like, I was so brainwashed by this TikTok community that you admitted on a live.
That is not brainwashing, dude. What
And notice the mute again.
wrong with this guy? You're just a transphobic, homophobic piece of shit.
I don't think you would date a trans woman.
You're a bigot. That's all you are.
I think you would flip shit.
That's all you are, a complete bigot. You're a complete bigot. Athena, is there something you wanted to say? I'm honestly over this guy.
Yeah, but you keep muting him. I mean, there's another minute and a half of this. Let's see what it is.
I was just going to say, I was pretending as a straight...
Yeah, you are homophobic.
Dude,
Why are you like proud of that? Why are you
proud of dating a trans woman, bro? Stop acting
my girlfriend,
like that, bro. You are lying straight to the lie for money, bro.
Jake, one, my girlfriend isn't trans, but that doesn't change anything, right? I'm confused what your point is, Jake. Why would it?
Yes, you are very confused, Parker.
It'd be wrong if that was the case.
It is the case. You just admitted you would date a trans woman, and I just think that's absurd, bro.
Wait, what are you? How is that absurd?
I don't think that's true.
Because
I
it's
think
a
if
man.
you go out to a bar, right, and you find
you
a
don't
beautiful,
think you're gay.
what looks to be a woman,
Jake, again, why he doesn't understand boundaries? Why are you thinking of like me?
You just asked him to explain why it's disgusting. If that's your boundary, then you're really bad at keeping boundaries.
Jake, again, why he doesn't understand boundaries? Why are you thinking of like me going out to bars and talking to people when I'm in a relationship? Like, why can't you just be like, why can't you just be like, dude, it's weird to go up to someone who's literally in a relationship, who's been very clear that they're in a relationship, right? And ask them about all the different people that they would engage in relationships with.
Because it's about the principle. It's not about the actual act. It's about what you think of the thing. So it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship, because we're asking the hypothetical. If you are not in a relationship, yet you'll go sit in front of Jordan Peterson and be like, what? You can't answer a hypothetical? And then do the same shit with either this or what's not even a hypothetical question. What is a woman?
But that's an easy cop out.
Can you think for 1 second that maybe that's a weird thing to ask to someone who's in a committed long-term relationship? No, you can't think of that because you.
No, you are a political pundit. You talk about this, and this is a very popular political issue. You're not just some guy.
You don't have committed long-term relationships that have actually been meaningful in your life that you can relate to.
I just got out of one.
Projection. See, it doesn't necessarily matter if the projection is accurate to oneself, but you're still projecting that onto the person. You don't know that, and you're just saying it. So it's still projection.
Jake, then you should be able to understand boundaries.
Let's zoom out.
Jake, the fact that you don't understand those boundaries is just showing of very bad red flags.
You're right. So let's zoom out to why I think it's relevant. The left in
Jake, now get off my live. I don't like you.
Yep. Uh-oh, he was about to make a point. Can't let him talk. Can't let him talk. Exactly as I was saying. He can, him and that other guy, Dean, they can't have real conversations. They can only have those super direct debate style where you talk really fast and you mute this other person before they could say something that makes you sound bad, and you move over to another point. That is the way that they interact. So in case you didn't know, that's our boy Parker right here.
Oh my God.
We were talking about what was good for men.
Yeah.
And whether Tate was good or Peterson was good. And now we're talking about ethics in the sexual domain, which there's no basis in their worldview for anything to be morally, objectively right or wrong, other than their personal preferences. So if there's nothing objectively wrong.
Yep, and specifically his best friend Harry Sisson, well, no longer friends now, but no care in the world about the women's boundaries that he was talking about. The DNC, that's who. The DNC is who made them.
Than their personal preferences. So if there's nothing objectively wrong, there's no reason why bigotry is wrong. Why is bigotry wrong?
Well, support your claim. Don't run from your claim. Support it. Right? You're saying we as atheists have no basis of morality. Support that.
Yeah, no epistemic basis for getting an ought from an is.
Yeah, that's a claim. Okay, well, you're saying atheists.
No, it's an argument. It's a famous argument.
Right? You're saying that atheists can't account for morality. So what's the argument for that?
You can't get an ought from an is the argument. Back to Hume.
It looks like you don't know what an argument is. Come on, reason.
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. If you don't have there's clearly a lot that's not being said, a lot of assumptions going on, but it sounds like the correct assumptions. So Jay Dyer is assuming that, what's his name? Danny here is a secular humanist who would say that science tells us everything we need to know about morality. I agree to an extent, because it does tell us everything that we need to know about what will happen if we do the right things and if we do the wrong things. But you cannot get what you ought to do from what is. You can't get an ought from an is. That is the argument. So just because he didn't lay out David Hume's entire line of work doesn't mean that he's not making an argument. So I think we got another projection. It's not that he doesn't know what an argument is. It's that you don't know that this is a very famous argument that you are not going to win.
Can't get an ought from an is the argument. Back to Hume.
And like I can be like, yep, that is correct. You cannot use science to get to the place to the place that you ought to do these things. That doesn't mean that you need a God. That doesn't mean that you need Christianity, but you can't do it with just science.
That
You can't get an ought from an is the argument. Back to Hume.
It looks like you don't know what an argument is. Come on, reason. Try to go from one line of reasoning to another.
Yeah, they are kind of. I mean, I know this is Andrew's favorite word, but they really are spurgy.
Do you know what an argument is?
You cannot get an ought from an is. You're an atheist. In a materialistic worldview, there's no ought.
What does that have to do with atheism?
In a materialistic, atheistic worldview, there are no oughts.
See, now again, you have to bring in the materialist part, because if you are a materialist and you don't believe that there's anything except atoms and energy, then, that's a very different position than believing that there's no God necessarily, but there could be something else, all that stuff. Shout out to Box in the building. Welcome to the party, sir.
Yeah, there's no ought.
What does that have to do with atheism?
In a materialistic, atheistic worldview, there are no oughts.
First of all, I'm not a materialist.
You don't know the basic problem
and that's
of
just another
ought
claim. That's just another
claim. It's not a claim, it's an argument. It's a famous historical.
Look,
you don't know the difference between a claim and an argument.
Claim, you can't defend it.
It's an argument. It goes back to David Hume.
You don't
know that.
Right?
You don't know the difference between.
Look what just happened. Look what just happened. This guy said.
What just happened is that you didn't know the difference between an argument and a claim.
Why are you ever talking to me? Why are you scared? Let me talk. Right?
You're the one who jumped in first. Within 3 words of what Jay said, you jumped in.
You just claimed that atheists don't have a foundation of morality. I asked you to defend it, and then you said you can't get an ought from an is. What the heck?
That's the argument. That's
where are you going to get from that premise, right? You can't derive that.
So what Danny's trying to get at is, Danny would say, I never claimed that you can get an ought from an is. Myself, Lutch, as an atheist, has a foundation for my morality. It may not be objective, but I don't believe that you have an objective foundation for your morality either. I just think that you believe that you do. So but you have to articulate that, because people like these two come on shows like this and don't articulate that, which makes it easier for everybody else to lump us into the same box of, oh, you must think this. You must go by secular humanism. You must think this. You must all of that stuff. And when you get triggered, instead of having the conversation and you're trying to win the argument, you make us all look bad. Shout out to Abe Dinkus. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. Welcome.
You can't get an ought from an is. What the heck?
That's the argument. That's
where are you going to get from that premise, right? You can't derive that.
It's an argument. It's not a premise. It goes back to David Hume. You just didn't know that.
Okay, can we get it? I think we're moving slightly off topic. Let's bring it back to Pride Month. I want to play something which has had a lot of people talking on social media. This is Sesame Street, where all the puppets are holding hands, making up the Pride flag. And they say, on our street, everyone is welcome. Together, let's build a world where every person and family feels loved and respected for who they are. Happy Pride Month. I guess I would say, Parker, again, the problem with this is it's this kind of enforced virtue signaling. It reminds me in a way, for very different reasons, the day in the George Floyd fallout, when everyone had to do a black square on their Instagram, or somehow they were racist.
Yeah, if you don't have a black square on your Instagram, then you are a horrible person. Let's take a quick break. If you guys are enjoying the show, the party God damn it. If you guys are enjoying the show, the party rages on 24/7 over in our Discord. The link is pinned to the top of the chat and is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And guys, it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below that video and hit that join button. Starts at $2.99. There's a few different tiers, but $2.99 will get you in. It gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full Discord server. So we've got the free chat that is open to anyone. Anybody can join and talk. But as you can see, that is just one of our channels. There's a bunch of different channels here, including our disciple chat for members only, our word of the day watch party, where we're talking about all this stuff. And of course, we have the voice channel here, where we are hanging out at this moment. Shout out to everybody in the Discord server. Say hello and tell them to come and join.
Hello, come and join.
There you go, guys. Simple as that. See you there. And of course, remember, you do have to be a member to be in the after party and get all those extras. But if you join the free link at the top of the chat, then you will get a day pass to that after party, and you can come hang out, and you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Come and join us.
Fallout, when everyone had to do a black square on their Instagram, or somehow they were racist, and I refused, and everyone called me a racist. I went, why does putting a black square on my Instagram make any difference to anything?
It doesn't at all. Where did I leave off? Amanda said, I spit on the Pride sidewalk every time I walk across it. Based. Yeah, you know, I'm getting better, but shout out to BLC. Buck said, if that lines up with some narrative in the show, then maybe I don't like that part. But the image itself is fine. Disagree, but hey. And hell yeah, shout out to all the Discord degenerates. Love you all. I love you all. Come and join and hit the after party.
Everyone called me a racist. I went, why does putting a black square on my Instagram make any difference to anything? Again, with this, if you don't go along with the Pride Month stuff, then somehow you must be homophobic.
Apparently. Shout out to Brandon Murphy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So they say pride leads to arrogance, and it's a silent killer. But forcing pride down our throats doesn't make our country a better place. Not at all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party.
With the Pride Month stuff, then somehow you must be homophobic, is the kind of way this all seems to work. And I don't like that. I don't understand why we have to have any more of these enforced things where everywhere you go for a whole month, everything's pride. Why? Why can't everyone just get on with their lives?
Yeah, so like a way that I would respond to this is by saying that because of the bigotry and dehumanization that exists in our society, it's important to have these things for acceptance, to decrease the level of...
Does he get paid like by the word? Like, I know I can talk pretty quickly, but like it doesn't seem like that's the way he talks. It seems like he's like, all right, ready? Well, it depends on the level of acceptance. You decrease in the level. Like, bro, chill the fuck out. If for no other reason, take up some more airtime.
This is by saying that because of the bigotry and dehumanization that exists in our society, it's important to have these things for acceptance, to decrease the level of bullying that exists in our society, targeted towards the LGBTQ+ community. Now, no one's saying that you have to go to Pride, Piers. No one's saying that you have to involve yourself with Pride. When I go outside, I live in Los Angeles, I don't see rainbow flags everywhere. So I'm confused what you're talking about.
You might be colorblind then. You live in California, and in June you don't see pride flags everywhere? Okay, dude.
Yourself with Pride. When I go outside, I live in Los Angeles, I don't see rainbow flags everywhere. So I'm confused what you're talking about.
In Los Angeles?
Stop the cap.
You must be joking, mate. You can barely move in Los Angeles. I've got a house in Beverly Hills. You might as well put a pride flag over the whole place.
I'm sorry. I've been to those areas. Pride flags aren't everywhere. And when you live in Beverly Hills, right, that's specifically like not even right next to downtown. So that's where most of the rainbow flags would be. If you actually been to LA recently.
It's my serious.
How does that help your point at all?
Pointy. If you actually want to do something constructive, for say the trans community, for example, wandering around with LGBTQ+, and no one can ever remember now how many letters and digits there are on these.
You just said it.
It gets bigger and bigger. And I've seen one with 2 in it and all sorts of stuff, a 2-spirit, whatever. It's all.
All it is IA+.
I know, but then there's 2 and it gets ridiculous, right? And this is the problem with these things. It's never ending. It's like there were 2 genders, then there were 10, then there were 80, then there were 100. All of it's nonsense.
I'm trying to find that sign from somewhere. Q is LGBTQ. 2IAAP, I think. No. Where it is, but I'm sure you guys have seen it. But I mean, if you haven't seen it, just imagine it. LGBTQ. Oh no, maybe the plus. Maybe the plus needs to be in there. I don't know, but like, yeah, literally imagine. I mean, we got this one, which is close enough. It has the LGBTQIA2 plus. So not just the 4 letters or whatever it is. Ty's gotta go. Thank you for hanging out, Ty. You have a good one. Amanda said there's a fucking rainbow flag outside of the kindergarten to grade 3 school. Does it belong there? I don't think so. Not at all. Shout out to Liberty Plus TV. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Piers loves to mention his house in Beverly Hills. Well, I would too if I had a house in Beverly Hills. Welcome to the party.
Never ending. It's like there were 2 genders, then there were 10, then there were 80, then there were 100. All of it's nonsense to me. However, if you want to think that, it's a free world. Here's my point. If you actually want to make a constructive difference to, say, the trans community and trans rights and protect trans people,
then just stop talking, because everything that you say makes their lives worse.
Then the absolute worst way to go about that is the way that the trans lobby has tried to do it, by eroding women's rights in things like women's sport. That has exposed so many trans people to mockery, abuse, and the rest of it. And I would say that rather than spending all this time and effort and money on flags in Pride Month, what about just actually getting people to...
All right, this makes me mad. This makes me mad. Not this. This. You guys can see in the chat that these are very clearly supposed to be American flags. And StreamYard, you have plenty of time to get all this bullshit.
Haram!
So, Box, I mean, you kind of just did the whole thing for me. Thank you. That is slightly enraging.
Money on flags in Pride Month. What about just actually getting people together to understand that eroding women's rights is the worst possible thing to promote trans rights? Would you accept that?
Okay, so then if we were going to be talking about eroding women's rights, we'd have to talk about people that, you know, someone like Andrew Wilson supports, like Donald Trump, who is self-civil.
What aboutism? A word that I learned from these semantically obfuscating liberals. Good job.
Talking about eroding women's rights, we'd have to talk about people that, you know, someone like Andrew Wilson supports, like Donald Trump, who is...
Do it all! Or do you just have an opinion about this issue? Oh, you don't. You just have a position on this issue that Andrew is wrong. Got it. Shout out to Box with the $5. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. Getting us started with the swole goal. Of course, every donation gets a treat for Lazy Morty. I'm reaching so far back, bro. Lazy boy. Box said, it's America. You can be anything you want to be. At least that's what they told me. Yeah, but you can't be, you can be anything that you want to be that you can be. So you cannot be a woman, not because it's not allowed, but because it's not possible. You can do anything that you want to do that can be done. That is not illegal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, that makes you, Box, the new sponsor of the stream. Don't forget, guys, 15 super chats of any amount. Venmo, all that stuff counts. Membership signups counts, or if we hit $50 in total. Thank you so very, very much, brother.
Possible thing to promote trans rights. Would you accept that?
Okay, so then if we were going to be talking about eroding women's rights, we'd have to talk about people that, you know, someone like Andrew Wilson supports, like Donald Trump, who is held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman, who bragged about...
Well, hang on, let's stick to my question. Don't bring Trump into it.
I promise you I'm making a point relative to this.
Right.
He bragged...
Orange man bad.
Okay, man bad.
And Andrew bad too.
Let's stick to my question. Don't bring Trump into it.
I promise you I'm making a point relative to this.
Right.
He bragged
Smoky
about
man
walking...
bad. Smoky man bad. Smoky man bad.
You're very childish. He bragged about
All
walking
you
to the
can
changing
do
rooms.
is focus on me. You can't even answer to his question, dude. Just
I'm
but
promising
Andrew
I'm
Wilson
answering it right now.
bad.
You're cutting me off.
But Smoky Man bad.
You're cutting me off. I'm trying to answer it
bad.
right now. Respectfully, I'm trying to answer it right now, but you're not allowing me to.
Okay, well,
But you've already started talking, and clearly you're not addressing. You're talking about Andrew Wilson so that you can get to talk about Trump. Like, you're acting as if we don't see that that's what you're doing. Very clearly, that's what you're doing.
Smoky Man bad.
You're cutting me off. I'm trying to answer it right now. Respectfully, I'm trying to answer it right now, but you're not allowing me to.
okay, well, answer without distracting into Trump and stuff. Just answer the question.
Well, I'm giving an explanation, right? So he bragged about walking to the changing rooms of girls in Miss USA because he quote unquote owns the place to inspect them.
Oh,
Without the
forget
consent.
Trump. Forget Trump.
I promise you, I'm making a point here. Would you like me
You
to
have to
finish?
get to
It's not a good one.
the point a bit quicker. Come on.
I promise you I am. I've had 15 seconds. Okay, so specifically, right, people like Andrew Wilson do not call that type of stuff out when it's explicitly harmful towards women's
You're
rights.
playing what about three? I'm going to what about three. Because I haven't done that.
Well, I don't even remember what the question was, but it was something along the lines of, what are you actually doing to help, or why are you doing things that actively hurt? And he's like, well, if we're going to talk about women's rights, then we've got to talk about Orange Man Bad.
Like me, talk to me, Parker. Talk to me, right? As somebody who has always supported,
I was going to refer to
as
trans
someone
people,
who's
you're not
always
allowing me to
supported
speak to
trans
this.
rights, trans
This is
people's
incredibly
rights.
disingenuous.
And remember, I just showed you that clip of him on his own stream, and anytime somebody's trying to make a point, muted, and then I was trying to talk, and then I was trying to talk, and that is his tactic.
I've always supported trans people's rights to fairness, equality, and safety, right to the point that it began to erode into women's rights to the same thing. And that's my point to you. Why waste all this time, effort, and money on virtue signaling for Pride Month, when in fact there's a real problem going on, which remains unresolved because too many people on the left and too many young people go along with this absolute farce of trans athletes in women's sport?
Not to mention that Trump's only got another 3 years. You're a young buck. What are you going to do on your 22nd birthday when Trump is not in office anymore, and we still care about women's sports and all this stuff?
Which exposes trans people around the world to extra mockery and abuse.
But you'll condemn the mockery and abuse from people like Jay Dyer, and these are the mockers. You condemn that.
Well, I'm saying you're going to get the mockery when there is something so obviously grotesquely unfair.
Can I respond?
Parker, you got your hand up very politely, so answer me without mentioning
Andrew's bad.
Donald Trump or Andrew Wilson.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Okay, so I can't mention the person on the panel, but specifically in terms of trans people are not specifically going to be harmful towards women in these particular spaces.
Bruh. We just had the Olympics where a dude beat the shit out of a woman. What are you talking about?
Given that they've met the conditions of multiple years of HRT.
Have you been fired? Okay, have you been fired? Okay, sorry.
No!
Hang on.
Let me finish.
Parker, you can't make it. Parker, literally.
Got him. No mute button. Oh, it's really hard to talk when you get muted every 5 seconds, isn't it, you little fruitcake?
As you've said this, today, it's
Bobby.
been revealed.
I'm finishing, Piers,
today,
I'm trying to
wait
explain.
a minute.
I'm trying to explain, Piers.
You talk about
Nobody
safety.
cares.
Literally today.
Nobody cares about your filibustering. We know what you're trying to get to. Orange Man Bad. We get it. We know that's what you think. There's nothing else that's going to come out of your mouth. There's nothing else that's in your fucking head.
Today, wait a minute.
I'm trying to explain to you.
You talk about safety.
I just want to answer. I just need to let everybody know that I don't like Donald Trump. Can you let me talk? Can you let me talk? Because nobody knows that I don't like Donald Trump.
Algerian gold medal winner in the Paris Olympics women's boxing has been revealed to be a man who should never have been competing.
Piers, can I speak?
No! The host of the show is speaking. So shut your sagging ass little mouth up.
That's
why. You know how people feel when they're on your panels and you mute them.
Can I speak without interruption, please?
All right, answer.
I've been incredibly nice on this panel. I would.
Have you though? The first question you were given, you said Andrew's really bad and Trump is really bad. Who have you been nice to?
On your panels and you mute them.
Can I speak without interruption, please?
All right, answer.
I've been incredibly nice on this panel. I would love to be able to speak without interruption. Is that okay, Piers?
Yes, but answer my question.
Yeah, I was trying to answer the question. You cut me off. So specifically, I don't think trans people in these spaces will be harmful after multiple years of HRT and or not going through a male puberty, as I've seen no good evidence from any scientific.
That is not at all what you were saying. That's not at all what you're saying. You brought up Andrew, you brought up Trump, you brought up all this other bullshit. This is the first time you're saying this.
would be harmful after multiple years of HRT and or not going through a male puberty, as I've seen no good evidence from any scientific studies that indicate that there would be an unfair biological advantage
Imam
at that
Khalif,
point.
what are you
Not to say,
talking
listen,
about, man?
listen, I'm still explaining.
Poppy, you're talking complete
Hey, Power's back. Welcome back.
gibberish,
Can
man.
I please finish?
Imam Khalif has literally just been exposed as a biological male who won Olympic gold in women's boxing and beat up an Italian boxer, woman, so badly she quit in 43 seconds and said she thought she was going to die in the ring. So the whole argument you just put forward is literally disproved by a news story today. That's the point I was making to you. Of course it's dangerous. When you allow biological men to get in a boxing ring and beat up women, it is dangerous.
So I would just go and like break it down to a very silly example here and be like, okay, so if that's fine and trans women in women's sports is okay. Is it okay if I if I just put on a wig and start calling myself a woman and go, and their answer is going to be something, well, it depends on if you're really a woman. Like, no, for real. I want to really be a woman. Like, well, okay, then it's fine. No, it's not.
Piers, has that person been through multiple years of HRT?
I don't know. I don't care.
Then they haven't met my set of criteria. So how is that a critique of my worldview if they haven't met the set of criteria that I mentioned? Can I please finish? Can I please mention? Can I please mention? Right. So again,
can you please mention?
Me please finish.
Get
right.
flustered.
I am saying if they meet this set of criteria, then they can play, and there's nothing unfair biologically speaking that you can identify.
This is where you're so deluded.
Speaking.
You're so deluded because even if you have all the treatment, you still retain the body mass, the muscle mass, the lung capacity. You retain all the biological advantages of being born
not after multiple years of HRT. Not after multiple years of HRT.
Yes, you do.
Wait, do you want to bet, Piers?
So you think that your bone structure and your your fast twitch muscle fibers go away and they turn into female muscle fibers and your bones just shrivel? Is that what you're saying? I would love to see a study on that, Parker.
Advantages of being born
not after multiple years of HRT. Not after multiple years of HRT.
Yes, you
Wait, do you want to bet, Piers? Piers, put money on it. You said you retain every biological advantage.
Muscle mass.
You have gone through multiple years of HRT. You don't think muscle mass?
No, muscle mass, sure. Muscle mass, anybody could just fucking sit around for 2 years and muscle mass is going to go away. Bone density and fast twitch muscle fibers.
Your entire savings of your entire life that I'm right and you're wrong?
Piers, let's bet $1,000 right now that there are lower biological advantages that would specifically exist, given that someone goes through multiple years of HRT, right, relative to estrogen.
No, you're missing my point.
Take that bet.
No, you're missing my point.
Are you going to accept the bet? Yes or no?
You can have all the HRT treatment in your life.
Piers.
You can have all the testosterone.
See, now he's trying to, can I talk? And now he wants to answer that. Answer. Rules for thee, but not for me.
Point.
Are you going to accept the bet? Yes or no?
You can have all the HRT
yes or no. Answer. I know it's your show, but I'm running it now.
You can have all the testosterone. But hang on.
Accept it.
Let me answer. Let me answer. I'll tell you the bet I'll make. If you want to bet the $1,000,
I mean, he does have a Bernie flag behind him. So
you want to bet the $1,000 that if you go through testosterone reduction treatment and the rest of it, that you come out of it with a reduced muscle mass or lung capacity or the other things that give men an advantage. Take that bet for me.
Yeah. So I will bet after multiple years of HRT, specifically relating to estrogen, right, there is...
Oh, so pivoting. Just ignoring what he said and repeating what you said. I mean, hey, these guys are good at these rhetorical skills to a certain level. You got to give them credit there. Because it does make it difficult to have a real discussion because you're there trying to understand what he's saying, and he's there trying to win.
Is a reduction in muscle mass. You want to take that bet, Piers?
No, it's bullshit. Andrew Wilson.
Okay, let's take that bet.
Andrew Wilson.
Yes or no?
Andrew Wilson.
Yes or no? Do you want to take the bet?
I'm letting Andrew respond to you.
If I was Piers, I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude. I'll throw $1,000 at you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So when you're talking specifically about the whole LGBTQ thing has backfired greatly. And it's because this whole thing, pride is astroturfed. It's literally astroturfed. You just showed us how. I mean, you have a massive corporation putting out propaganda for a children's TV show, showing, a bunch of hands in a rainbow, this and that. It's very clear that this is backfiring. And by the way, the trans movement set the gay rights movement back 20 years or more.
Yep.
You can't convince us, Parker, even if you're attracted to men who you call women, that the rest of us need to call them women or men. Like they either are or they aren't.
Is this not changing the topic?
You have been trying to convince people forever that there's no way to distinguish these things. Like, look, the average normal person, they can tell that these guys who go out and go, hey, how you doing? My name is Chuck, with long hair are clearly not women, Parker. Like, we know this. And so what happens is you guys
My name is Chuck,
gaslight everybody
and I like to fuck.
and try to pretend that, hey, you just can't really know. It's too vague. It's, we can't really get to the meat potatoes here. It's like, we do know, Parker, and you have not.
Yes, we do. Next is until you can change XX to XY chromosomes or vice versa. You are not changing your sex. You're just changing which sex you look most like.
Bingo.
Well said, sir. Absolutely correct,
It's too
sir.
vague. It's, we can't really get to the meat potatoes here. It's like, we do know, Parker, and you have not been able to successfully, with your TikTok brain, convince people that men can be women and women can be men. You haven't done that. And that's one of the reasons that you see Pride falling behind, is because of all of this gaslighting. People are rejecting it.
Let's move on to another
Can,
subject.
can I respond? Can I respond?
Well, very quickly, yeah.
So, yeah. So one, I'm not.
Oh, very quickly. He's not good at that. I mean, he's good at talking quickly, but getting to a point quickly is an entirely different endeavor for white dudes for Harris.
Saying that men can be women. We're making the claim that trans women are women and trans men are men. Right? That's a separate claim from the original claim about Pride. I do want to address the claim specifically about Pride and how we're addressing like how people are negatively impacted. And as a society, we want to address this in terms of this so that we can reduce the likelihood of people being harmed or negatively impacted or not accepted in these communities. That's the point of Pride in these conditions, right? Just because it is the
So all of those words are, I want to address how Pride doesn't hurt trans people. That's what he just said. I want to address how Pride doesn't harm trans people. That's all he said. But listen to how many words he said.
Can I respond? Can I respond?
Well, very quickly, yeah.
So, yeah. So one, I'm not.
So okay, we'll start at the same time, and I'll say, this is not what I'm saying. This is what Parker's saying. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Saying that men
Pride
can be women.
does
We're making
not
the claim that
harm
trans women are women and
trans
trans men
people.
are men.
I'm done.
Right, that's a separate claim from the original claim about Pride. I do want to address the claim specifically.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. Okay.
About Pride and how we're addressing like how people are negatively impacted, and as a society, we want to address
Pride
this in terms of
does
this, so that we
not
can reduce the likelihood
harm
of people being harmed or negatively
trans
impacted or
people,
not accepted in these
in
communities.
my opinion,
that's the point
as
of Pride in these
Parker.
conditions, right? Just because it is the case that
That's it.
issues have existed to a greater extent in the past.
That's what
doesn't
I'm
mean that
telling
we don't
you.
have an issue to address today, right?
What
in
I'm
terms
saying
of
here,
Pride, right? Like addressing that we should have
with my
acceptance
gay
of gay
little
people, we should
flag
have
behind
acceptance
me,
of people in the LGBTQ+.
is that it doesn't
community.
hurt trans people.
So that-
That's it. That's all. I mean, word salad to the max.
Have acceptance of gay people. We should have acceptance of people in the LGBTQ+ community. So
Yeah,
that's
Isn't it
I-
counterintuitive though, Parker, to
I'd like to
say
add one thing.
clearly,
I would like to add one thing.
clearly, it's backfiring. Like it seems like it's counterintuitive. If you push the
Well, there's a
propaganda
mistake that
that
you're
I
hard,
think it's backfiring.
Yeah, it's backfiring.
Let me bring in Danny.
Where's your pride button?
Let me bring in
Where is
Danny.
it?
Let Danny have a say.
Yeah, right. I want to highlight that what the corporations do, right? I might agree with you. Some of them sell out for Pride, right? That, it's marketable. I might agree with you, but Pride is way more than just what the corporations do. It's how people, identify with their sexuality and, kind of anti-bullying agenda. That's very important. It's central to Pride. Whatever the corporation.
Maybe. But if you have naked dudes on the street, then it doesn't really matter what else you have.
Do. If they sell out, they sell out. But you can still have Pride, whatever they do.
Yeah, you can have Pride,
Well,
but why do you have to have?
Danny, though,
Why do you have all the
like, it's not
commercialization behind it?
organic. It's not organic, Danny. This is not
Anti-bullying is inherently
organically. This is not organically people coming together anymore to force this. This is a bunch of NGOs.
Andrew, if you were
in order to
actually
promote
Christian, you would be
this.
in support of Pride. If you were actually Christian, you'd be in support of Pride because you'd be
What?
okay with accepting people.
Is there a cardinal
Right,
sin
yeah,
called
that's what Jesus
pride?
said.
Is there a cardinal sin called
Wait,
pride?
it's not
Parker?
pride in a literal sense. It's pride specifically
Yeah,
in the
you
sense
know,
that
Actually, a very good point.
Romantic obfuscation. Guys, you get your very own semantic obfuscation. We got notebooks, we got mugs, we got a whole bunch of stuff and a bunch of different designs only at TheIndianJesus.com. But what you are seeing is that semantic obfuscation, and we have to stop it, guys. Head on over to TheIndianJesus.com.
Wait, it's not pride in a literal sense. It's pride specifically in the sense
That's
of
actually a very good point. Pride is a sin.
Pride.
Why are you celebrating sin?
It's not
Yeah,
pride
you're
in a literal
celebrating
sense.
sin. Literally, what are you talking
You're
about?
misunderstanding. You're misunderstanding. It's not pride in a literal sense. It's pride in the sense specifically where we're accepting people specifically for being gay, right?
Then call it Acceptance Month.
For being
that's
trans,
not
and that's
Christian.
exactly
They're
what
proud of
Christianity
it.
boundaries.
Wait,
It
Christianity
doesn't
doesn't tell you to do
proud
that.
of it, right?
Christianity tells you to
they're
love
proud of it.
everyone and tells you to
It
accept
doesn't
people who are
only
human
say
beings
that.
made
It
in the image
also
of
talks
God.
about
Gay
boundaries
people-
and limitations.
And we know how Parker feels about his boundaries.
You
But
have to
gay
have a
people and trans
basis
people-
for virtue versus vice. Christianity is a virtue vice ethic, and your whole ethos is to defend your own personal vices because your ethics are all purely subjective. You
Are
have
you
no
proud to be a
basis for
Christian,
rights
Jay?
other
Are you proud to
than
be a
what you
Christian?
say is the case.
Good question from Danny. Good question from Danny. Are you proud to be Christian? This is intelligent.
Because your ethics are all purely subjective. You
Are
have
you
no
proud to be a
basis for
Christian,
rights
Jay? Are
other
you proud to
than
be a
what you
Christian?
say is the case.
Jay, are you proud to be a Christian?
Sure.
Oh, that's a sin.
That's an
Pride.
equivocation.
Oh,
I didn't make
get 'em.
the argument. I didn't.
Hey, man. Hey, man. Hey, man. You just walked into that. You just walked into that. Well, let's keep it a buck. You just said being proud is a sin. And then you said you're proud. Take the L.
Sure.
Oh, that's a sin.
That's an
Pride.
equivocation.
Oh,
I didn't make
get 'em.
the argument. I didn't make the
I mean, look,
argument. That's an equivocation.
We're not talking about the cardinal
What's
sin.
an
We're talking about
equivocation
the sense of
fallacy?
pride. We're talking about the sense of pride that matters, to your identity, who you are, Christian.
I said virtue
gay,
vice
straight.
ethic, and you used an argument from equivocation. It's
Right, but Jay, if you can understand that applies to your statement of "I am proud to be a Christian," then you have to acknowledge that they are saying "I am just proud to be gay." Now, if you want to address that, that's not really what's happening. Fine, but that's not the argument that you're making.
two different uses
No,
of the
no,
word.
you're equivocating.
that's what
You brought
Piers
up the
is doing.
cardinal sin.
Behave said Morty is looking fabulous. I want to steal him and make him wear cute prince outfits. He's so charming. He's charming, and he's hungry.
No. Yes, you are. I didn't say that pride is the sin that is
Respectfully, wasn't that exactly what you guys were doing when I said that pride wasn't used in a literal sense, but then you guys equivocated and said that we were.
I didn't make.
Yeah. I mean, I hate these two, but when you're right, you're right. Shout out to Glenn Lawrence Presents. Welcome. So the difference between pride and being proud. Pride is the fall. Being proud of something is not being prideful. And I agree with you. Now, I mean, very clearly, the idea of calling it pride was a tongue-in-cheek way to go against Christianity at a time when this stuff wasn't as sprawling and permeated through society. But let's not pretend that we can't understand this when it comes to Christianity, but we can understand this when it comes to the gays. Let's stay in good faith. If you can understand the difference between saying, I'm proud to be a Christian, and that's not the sin of pride, then you have to acknowledge that even if you're saying that sodomy is a sin, then being gay is not a sin, and being proud to be gay is a one-to-one analogy to being proud to be a Christian. That's how the language works. And Jay walked right into it. Every other thing that they've said, I've disagreed with. But hey, I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Welcome to the party. We also got Matthew King. Welcome to the party. Yeah, I just chopped off a little I went a little too high on this side. So I gotta clean it up. But I gotta get rid of them split ends and shit. Can't reduce in size much more, or I'll disappear. All right, welcome to the party, guys. Let's dive back in.
That way, exactly what you guys were doing when I said that pride wasn't used in a literal sense, but then you guys equivocated and said that we were.
I didn't make that argument. Andrew made that argument. I said you don't have
Andrew
a
made a
basis
mistake.
for virtue
So
or
Andrew made a
vice.
mistake.
Yes.
So Andrew made a mistake.
I said you don't have a basis for virtue or
No,
vice.
we were basing this around.
And this is the problem with both sides having to be so tribalistic. What's the big deal? Does you making a mistake of talking about pride in the wrong context, does that make the pride parades okay? No. So fine. Be like, okay, you're right. I misspoke, but pride's still disgusting. There's still no reason for it. It's still astroturf. All of the things that you said still apply. Just take the L so that your W's actually matter.
The idea that Parker said, what Parker said specifically here was, well, wait a second. If you're a Christian, you should be all about this. And it's like, no, not really. And you haven't really demonstrated how. Why, Parker? Why is it that we need to support homosexuality as Christians, Parker? Tell us why.
So this is a good pivot from Andrew. It's a pivot back to the main discussion, but a pivot nonetheless. But hey, if they don't catch it, then they didn't catch it.
Well, I was saying that you should be loving of thy neighbor as you're referencing specifically people, right? Human beings, Right? If we're referencing
love
Why
people
does
and
that
human
mean we
beings-
have to
qualified as
support
having boundaries.
homosexuality? Why do we have to support homosexuality?
I'm saying that you have to be accepting of people who are homosexual.
Why
Because
do
you
we
are
need
Christian.
to support homosexuality, Parker?
Okay, we're not saying you need to support like engaging in gay intercourse. We're saying that you need to support people who are gay as they are people created in the image of God.
Why do we need to support them? Why do we
People
need to
created
support
in
them
God.
in things that we consider sinful? You want us to support sin?
Wait, I'm not saying
That's, I mean, again, that's kind of a straw man. That's not what Parker is saying. That's not what Spurgy, Bob Saget here is saying. I don't make me defend these fruitcakes. He said that homosexual people are made in his ideology in the eyes of God. And so what Andrew would say is, yes, I love these people as any other person, but I hate their sins, and I am totally allowed to, hate homosexuality and the whole thing. But Parker's right.
Them. Why do we
People
need to
created in
support them
God.
in things that we consider sinful? You want us to support sin?
Wait, I'm
Well,
not saying
wait,
that
by
you should
support, he just
necessarily
means-
support sin. I'm saying you're supporting the person who engages in sin the same way you're a sinner, and that you engage in
So-
sin, yet you should be
yeah,
supported.
Is he wrong about that? Is he wrong that you should hate the sin, not the sinner? Right? I got that from church. Right? Are we? Okay. So he's just too zesty. So nothing that he says you're going to agree with, just like Andrew Wilson. Got it.
Sin,
Got
I'm
it. We're
saying you're
playing
supporting the
teams.
person who engages in sin the same way you're a sinner, and that
On
you
team
engage in
truth,
sin, yet
baby.
you should be
Yeah,
supported.
so when homosexuals come to the church and they reject
team logic.
homosexuality, they're no longer acting in that way. They are
Wait,
accepted.
they're
in
not
the church.
rejected.
What are you talking about?
Wait, by
It's
the way,
an
nothing
action,
in the
it's not
Bible
an
says that
identity.
being
So there's a
being gay-
vice virtue
exactly.
ethic that they're not understanding. It's not an identity, it's a vice.
Wait,
Well,
hold on. So
look,
being-
I want to bring this. I
being
want to
gay
bring
is
the pride
different
bit
from
to an end. We're going to
engaging
move
in
on
gay
to the last.
So if the atheist tube were smart, they would talk about something like, I don't know, some other sin that they would be willing to say, yes, even though that person committed the sin, we don't hate that person forever. They are redeemable in the eyes of Christ or whatever. This is all Parker's saying. That's all Parker said. And Andrew kept going back, why do we have to support homosexuality? He didn't say that. Again, you have such a strong argument. These fruitcakes have nothing. Why are you strawmanning them? Just win the debate on the merits of your better ideas.
It's a vice.
Wait,
Well,
hold on. So
look,
being-
I want to bring this.
being
I want
gay
to bring
is
the
different
pride
from
bit to an end. We're going to
engaging
move
in
on to the
gay
last topic.
Being gay is different than engaging in gay intercourse. That's what it says. That's what they believe.
But all I would say is, look, I absolutely
Saved by the Piers.
do not think homosexuality is a sin. I completely respect everyone's right to have any sexuality they like.
Me too.
Just don't see the point in spending a whole month allowing companies to virtue signal their way into making tons of money out of it.
So hate the sin, love the sinner, unless you don't like them.
I just think it's
Or
the
Piers, how
it's
long
the
then? Do you want a
grasping
week?
it's the grasping commercialization of
Wait,
sexuality
wait,
that
you
I
just
find
buried the
so
Is
objectionable.
your issue just how long? Is it you just want a week or a day? Like, what do you? Is that the
If
issue?
you want to have
How about none? How about none?
a pride day, fine, but why a month? Goes
What
on
does it
and on
matter
and
if it's a
on.
month or a day?
Huh?
Wait, couldn't
What does it matter?
corporate
He looks so gay trying to raise his hand. Like, bro, that's not how this show works. You've been taking up most of the time by just talking. It's a virtue signal, just like the entirety of pride. It's so deep in these people. Every little thing they do, say, and think. It's insane.
Month or a day.
Well,
Well,
if it's a day, it's a day longer than I get as a straight guy. I mean, what about me? Where am I?
Okay, fair enough. Matthew King said sinners are supposed to repent. If there's no asking for forgiveness, then it's a problem. So what's the timeline? So what if we have somebody who is a thief? And in 5 years, they repent, and they are welcomed into the kingdom of heaven, correct? So how do we know which sinners are going to repent and not going to repent? I feel you. I feel you on that. On the first part.
If it's a day, it's a day longer than I get.
Hey, shout out to Cheddar Steve over on Rumble. Welcome to the party. Said Pierce, but isn't the church commercialized? Yes. Hate that too. He's a Mormon. Piers Morgan is a Mormon? Really? I did not know that. Church is a virtue signal too. Dilly to that. Completely agree. But that's not really what we're discussing right now. But completely agree.
Huh? Wait, couldn't corporations?
Couldn't corporations really care about gay people? I mean, I guess.
Hey, it's a day longer than I get as a straight guy. I mean, what about me? Where's my day?
Are you bullied for being straight?
We don't have the same issues.
I get bullied all the time. I've been bullied on social media all day.
Not for being straight. No.
Okay, so then Piers then say the things that you get bullied for, like, you know, you were called racist for not posting your black square. When is racists who don't post their black square day? You think you have a point, and you just don't.
All right, let's move on. I want to play a clip from Joe Rogan. I'm going to start with you, Jay, on this.
And speaking of which, I don't know, you know, this is only 53 minutes long. If we finish this and we have more time, I want to cover a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of Cash Patel. Speaking of Joe Rogan, he was just on JRE, and I was thinking of covering covering it just like we normally do, but I think the heart of it is boiled down to just a couple minutes. So I assume we'll have time for that. If not, then we'll do it in the after party. But either way, stick around, hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are here to party.
All right, let's move on. I want to play.
So before we do that, Matthew said, I got to say, it's really not up to us to judge. Bingo. Exactly what the lefties' points are, or what the lefties' point is. Matthew goes on to say, if you want to come to church, I will welcome you. Your sins are between you and God. I understand I may be an outlier, but that's how it's supposed to work. Yeah. So you and I, in that specific point, agree with Parker and disagree with Andrew Wilson. Despite the fact that overall, we don't really like Parker, and, you know, Andrew's a pretty likable guy with mostly good ideas. See how that works? We don't have to play teams.
A clip from Joe Rogan. I'm going to start with you, Jay, on this. This is Joe Rogan talking about the R word.
The R word. Shout out. Oh, have you been? Big shout out to Dave Smith.
Where they're screaming.
Talking about the R word.
It's one of these retarded shows where they're screaming. There's the word again. We brought it.
No, I hate you too. Just kidding. You set me up.
Good. It's one of these retarded shows where they're screaming. There's the word again. We brought it. Yeah. We were just talking about that. You did it early. The word retarded is back, and it's one of the great culture victories that I think is spurred on probably by podcasts.
Now, Jay.
And already he's pouting. This word, it's so harmful. I mean, you know, letting a man beat the shit out of a woman, that's fine. But saying retard, that's a step too far.
Victories that I think is spurred on probably by podcasts.
I did for a while, but mainly for the channel, and then, you know, that just bled into real life where I just wasn't using it as much because I wasn't using it. This is the most that I speak out loud, but it's right back in there, baby. The Bob Saget it's got to come back, and we're not there yet, and I'm not gonna be the pioneer, but I'm waiting for it.
Culture victories that I think is spurred on probably by podcasts.
Now, Jay, is it a great moment, a great cultural victory that the R word is back, which obviously is short for, it's retarded, it's mentally retarded, it's for people who are mentally impaired. It was used in a derogatory way against people who are mentally impaired.
I'm pretty sure this was Bill Burr. If not, I apologize, but it was definitely a stand-up comedian who was saying that, come on, you don't call a mentally retarded person retarded. You call your friends retarded when they're being retarded.
Why would that be a cultural victory to bring that back?
Well,
because we all know that.
I'm a big fan of the R word because I myself act retarded all the time, and I'm proud of it. In fact, I would actually probably get retarded tattooed across my back, because I think it is a cultural victory. I'd love to be able to say what's on my mind. I think, yeah, I mean, well, these guys are retarded as an example. So we have journalists that are retarded. So yeah, I love the R word. I'm rated R totally. And I think that it's a freeing thing. It's a way to express the way we express things in the 80s and the 90s without problem. Like, you can go watch Bill Murray comedy movies and they're great because
but people used to. Yeah, but hang on, people used.
I mean, I was watching. I just finished Sopranos, and you know the type of language that they use there is very. It's very tame in terms of the way that we used to speak. Not very tame, but it's rather tame in the way that we used to speak. But it's almost jarring because it's like, oh my goodness, they put this on TV.
How dare you?
Shout out to equality and deference because Ty, do not fucking say it again. Vagina. Welcome to the party. Said, liked, and shared. Thank you so very, very much. You guys know how much that stuff helps the channel. It doesn't even matter if you think anybody is going to click on the link just by you telling YouTube, I want more people to see this. They will show it to more people. Thank you so very, very much. Welcome to the party. I said, oh, fucking hell. Jay Dyer, that nitwit is insufferable. I think we might be picking the lesser of two evils here, Quality. I think we might be picking the lesser of two evils here. I don't know. We'll see. Welcome to the party.
You can go watch Bill Murray comedy movies and they're great because
but people used to. Yeah, but hang on, people used to use the N word, 30, 40 years ago, right? But then
right. They're like flame retardant blankets. It's just a word.
And I champion all the comedians.
But that became something that was taboo in society because it was deemed.
What just happened here?
I champion all the comedians.
But that became something that was taboo in society because it was deemed to be.
If I was Jay here, I would have set this trap for Parker. I celebrate all the comedians that still use the N-word. You get the like Parker. I was talking about the black ones. Got him.
But then
I champion all the comedians.
But that became something that was taboo in society because it was deemed.
It's so performative. You saw his reaction, and then you saw that. You know what? That's not enough. Watch it. It's performative.
Right, but then
I champion all the comedians.
But that became something.
So that's his natural reaction.
That was taboo.
And then he's like, "Oh wait, that's not enough."
In society because it was deemed to be very offensive.
There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way you could convince me that is a genuine reaction. There is no way.
To black people, the R word.
I don't think it is.
The use of the R word is deemed to be very offensive to people who are genuinely mentally impaired. And they don't like it.
He's making a soy face, like he's like freaking out over there. But
I'm sorry, you just said it's justified for white people to say the N-word?
Nope, he said he respects the comedians that do. And I don't know if you know this. Parker. A little secret, but black people can be comedians too.
And what's wrong, morally wrong? I don't equate the two.
Taboos are not equated. Your response.
So here's my question. Do you think that Jesus would say the N-word, and do you think Jesus would say the R slur?
Jesus does say jokes and slurs in the Gospels. Yes, he talks about.
So Jesus would say the R slur in the
equivalents in his day.
So Jesus
he calls
would
people
say
dogs.
the N-word and the R slur.
He calls people
the same
dogs.
Thing as the N-word and the R slur.
Reference to you guys' vice.
Parker, do people in your friendship group ever use?
There's certainly a lot more rap music with the advancement of technology and people being able to produce music in their bedrooms. Just by that alone. Just by that alone.
Is the R word?
No, never.
Holy Jesus. I swear to God, dude. Democrats are so racist, they don't even understand. So all black people are the same.
It's just a taboo word.
Yes, I think it's incredibly wrong to use. You shouldn't use it.
People in your friend group use the N-word.
And out of interest, Parker, what is your rationale personally for not using it?
I think it's incredibly harmful. In the same way that we don't use other sorts of slurs because they're...
Nick with the dilly. Just try to keep the cum from falling out of his mouth. I mean, what is there to say? Yep. You got him.
Not using it.
I think it's incredibly harmful. In the same way that we don't use other sorts of slurs because they're harmful,
Okay.
I think that we
If your
shouldn't use this word
arguments
because it's harmful.
hurt my feelings, should you not argue?
So no, specifically, we're saying it meets a threshold of harm, right?
Whose
because
threshold?
they are
Based on, well, okay, fine. Okay, great. You're saying there's a threshold of harm. What is that threshold? And how do we measure it? You're the science bro, right? We're talking to these fucking Christians who, will just take whatever God says to them, right? So you're saying there's a threshold. Source?
So no, specifically, we're saying it meets a threshold of harm, right?
If I was Danny, I'd be like, hey, yo, motherfucker, talk for yourself. This ain't going well for you. And just because we're both atheists, I don't want to be tied to you.
Because
He's probably not smart enough to realize that it's not going well.
So no, specifically, we're saying it meets a threshold of harm, right? Because the R slur and the
whose threshold?
my threshold, my
Your
threshold.
threshold. So
is
it's
arbitrary.
subjective. That's a subjective argument. Thank you. So it's only your personal subjective taste.
We're obviously we're
If
talking
it's
about
your
under
personal
my
subjective.
So yeah, then your argument is I don't like it. Because he knows where it's going. He knows where it's going because he doesn't think. I won't speak for Danny so much. He hasn't said as much. So I'll just speak for Parker. But he thinks that because he spends all of his time debating 12-year-olds on TikTok with a mute button, that he knows this stuff well. He's just very good at his talking points. And as I mentioned before, he's good at deflecting and hiding that deflection and pivoting and hiding those things. But, other than that, like once you get to a literal real person, and I mean, someone that you can't mute, you're done. You're done. Shout out to Anita here. Welcome to the panel. We are addressing all of the people on the panel when they're right, when they're wrong, and hey, sometimes the gaytheists are right, and sometimes, well, usually they're wrong, but broken clock is right twice a day. Welcome.
That's a subjective argument. Thank you. So it's only your personal subjective taste.
We're obviously we're
if
talking
it's
about
your
under
personal
my
subjective
Can I
taste, then
please
it can
finish?
also
Can I
be
please
mine.
finish?
So
Okay, well
that's
then
why
Parker, it
working
doesn't
on
reach our
arguments of that
threshold,
argument.
Parker.
All right,
It
Andrew,
doesn't reach our
fine. That
threshold,
would be
Parker.
I understand.
Doesn't reach my threshold either. And put one in the chat if the word retard meets your threshold of harm in society such that we should not use that word. Didn't think so.
Dan, Andrew, that would be your perspective on the matter, but given my
But you're treating your perspective as the perspective.
I would say that meets my threshold. Are you saying it's okay to use the N-word, Andrew?
And it's subjective, and it
Yes.
doesn't work as an argument.
Wait,
Andrew,
why
is it
do you
okay
think
to-
people that
Andrew,
wait, I have to ask you,
hold
why do
on.
you think
Yeah. Parker. Is it ever okay to use the word retard?
No. Is it okay for you to
What about flame retardant blankets?
use the N-word?
Is it even okay to use the word retard to reference the word retard?
I think it's wrong to use it in general. Can you please use
That doesn't answer the question. We asked you a specific, not about in general. First was the question about using it in general. We didn't need to say in general because that's the default if we say in general. So then when we specify, if you're answering in general, you're not answering the specific question. Well, it's a true story. The 2 times in my life that I heard a cascade of the dreaded word what the fuck does it say? Okay, take 2. True story. The 2 times in my life that I heard a cascade of dreaded word were when some Zulus pulled up at a gas station blaring their, quote, music, and the dreaded word was used every other second. But Andrew and Jay have objective morality, a magic book. Those are 2 different comments. So yeah, I mean, to what we were saying before, just the fact that all this rap music is exploded in number, you're gonna hear it a lot more. And yeah, to the other comment, Andrew and Jay have objective morality. You think they do, or they think they do, rather. But that is begging the question.
Retard to reference the word retard.
I think it's wrong to use it in general. Can you please use
Can you answer my question, and then I'll answer yours, I promise.
I said it's
Is
wrong.
it okay to
wrong.
refer to the word
No.
retard if you're explaining the word retard?
Say R slur.
So you can't. Okay, so you can't even use. So just the word itself. Okay, so
But what? Okay, so this was this might have also been Bill Burr, but it was another comedian talking about the phrase "the N-word," and it's like, wait. So You get to get away with not saying the N-word, but you say the N-word, and then the N-word itself pops into my head. Why are you making me think it? Like, if that's what we're referring to, that's all language is. Remember, that's why God is bad at being a word, because the words are supposed to take the thoughts and ideas from my head and put them into your head. So if we're talking about the same idea, and I say retard, and you say R slur, functionally, there is absolutely no difference. There's absolutely no difference.
Refer to the word retard if you're explaining the word retard.
He would have been on the board that fired Papa John for saying people should not say the N-word, but he actually said the N-word.
Say R.
Oh, yeah, that was Louis C.K. Thank you, Equality. Yeah, he was like, why are you making me think it? Exactly. Exactly.
So you can't, okay, so you can't even use, so just the word itself. Okay, so here's the thing that's so funny about this, right? Is like, ultimately, when we say, retarded, yeah. So I wouldn't use the N-word. Here's why.
I love that. That was good. Oh, that was great. He's like, am I allowed to ask a question? And she's like, yeah. So I wouldn't use the word. He just keeps talking. Oh, my goodness. So that is a purposeful use. Remember, I talk about my pet peeve of when somebody makes a solid point against an opponent in a debate, and the opponent kind of just glosses right over it, as if I didn't just destroy everything that you just said. That's a pet peeve. But Andrew here is using it as a tactic, and beautifully done. Beautifully done. Let's watch it again.
Okay, so you can't even use, so just the word itself. Okay, so here's the thing that's so funny about this, right? Is like, ultimately, when we say,
am I able to ask a question yet?
Am I able to ask a question yet?
Yeah. So
yeah.
I wouldn't use the N-word. Here's why. When I say that, if somebody says the N-word, what ends up ultimately happening, there's not really too much in the way of equivocation there. Retard is not actually referring to retarded people, though. Basically, ever. Nobody ever says it, Parker, to refer to somebody who's actually retarded.
That doesn't change it. Hold up. If you're using the N-word to refer to a white person, it's still wrong. Would you use the N-word to refer to a white person?
I mean, in some circumstances, I think that you can use it in a comedic sense. That's hilarious.
That would be great.
Sure.
You think white people using the N-word is okay in any circumstance?
Yeah, comedic sense.
He did the thing. He did the thing.
Sure. You think white people?
I didn't see that. Parker did it again. All right. I'm sorry. We're replaying this again, but there's so much going on. There's so much going on, and I love every second of it.
Says it, Parker, to refer to somebody who's actually retarded.
That doesn't change it. Hold up. If you're using N-word to refer to a white person, it's still wrong. Would you use the N-word to refer to a white person?
I mean, in some circumstances, I think that you can use it.
See, notice how he did it again. Notice how he did it again. This is a performance. It always comes after. When somebody does that, that is oh shit, you're gonna see it like that. You know, that's fake. It's fake. It's fake.
It's still wrong. Would you use the N-word to refer to a white person?
I mean, in some circumstances.
Reaction 1.
I think that you can use
Reaction
it in a comedic
2.
sense.
Would you use the N-word to refer to a white person?
I mean, in some circumstances.
Reaction 1.
I think that you can.
Reaction 2. I mean, it goes so deep with these fucking people.
Use it in a comedic sense. That's hilarious. Sure.
You think white people using the N-word is okay in any circumstance?
Oh man. So this is on the thumbnail, and I was scrubbing through. I was trying to find a good spot. This was the best I could do. And if you notice, they're actually switched. I wanted Andrew on this side, so I flipped everything. But that was the best I could do. But in the actual thumbnail, it should be on here, right? What the hell? What the hell is going on? Can we see this here? Oh, God damn it. So you can see here, you can see here, they have that, and then him doing the same thing. And I was trying to, I just, I figured these were different parts of it. Oh man, that is fucking hilarious. This, I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. This is great. This is great. So I'm saying, it's performative. It's performative. And beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Use it in a comedic sense. That's hilarious. Sure.
You think white people using the N-word is okay in any circumstance?
Yeah, comedic senses especially. I think it's fine.
That's disgusting as fuck.
You're disgusting. That's not an argument. Danny, where you at? I thought we were calling out people who don't know what arguments are. Oh, you got all the smoke for the Christian. Look at Jay now. Look at Jay now. Do you guys understand why I like hanging out with you guys more than I would ever want to hang out with a random group of atheists? The atheists that are here, like myself, are cool people, despite the fact that we are atheists. Most atheists are people like this. And that's why I don't blame you guys for having this caricature of who I am, because you know that I'm an atheist. But it's not all of us. I swear. Just like you're not all Bible thumpers. We're not all that was the closest I've gotten. We're not all Bob Saget's.
Is okay in any circumstance.
Yeah, comedic senses especially. I think it's fine.
That's disgusting as fuck. You
Oh my God!
Right
is that an argument? Is that an argument?
There we go.
Wait, me calling something disgusting because I think it goes against my moral intuition?
No, it's not an argument. And so notice how he's trying to answer the question. And no, we're not. I absolutely love that book and I follow it very closely, but I think that it is sorely missing the morality aspect. I think the truth claims are of religion are silly, but I think the values are amazing. I think the Christianity is the best moral structure that we have, but because it's based on unfalsifiable things that we don't know and can't know are true, then we should be able to take these values that we do find in Christianity and be able to build a structure that isn't based on something that we can never prove. You don't have to pick teams in every situation. You don't have to be left or right. You don't have to be up and down. You don't have to be Christian or atheist. You can be a human being with ideas that thinks for themselves.
Is that an argument, Parker?
Wait, me calling something disgusting because I think it goes against my moral intuition?
You think it's disgusting? Okay, right.
So no was the answer to the question. And he knows that, so he's just repeating the question.
Sexuality is disgusting because it goes against my moral.
All right, let me bring in Danny.
Yeah, right. Oh man, what a perfect opportunity. You were talking about what was disgusting. So you think certain things are disgusting from them, and you think certain things are disgusting from them. Yet the liberals think that what they think is disgusting is objectively disgusting, despite the fact that they are making fun of the Christians for thinking that they have objective morality when they don't. You can't make this shit up.
Okay, right. Homosexuality is disgusting because it goes against my moral.
All right, let me bring in Danny.
Can I respond?
Hang on.
No!
Let me bring in Danny. This is what NBC said. NBC News, when they covered the return of the R word, they said while its use is percolated in the
return of the retard
comedy world for years, only recently has the word and discussion of its return become more normalized. That is fueled in no small part by a sense that the tide has turned both culturally and politically.
True, and I do think as much as Tom Segura has become Tom Segura, the first time I really remember seeing or hearing somebody say retard on a bigger platform recently was that bit. I think that was definitely not his most recent special, and I don't think it was the one before that, but he's talking about Louisiana, and he was saying like, yeah, you're all a bunch of retards and whatever. And after that, I think we were off to the races. So for all the rich rage baiting, if you know, shout out to Podcast Cringe and Comedy Enforcement.
Is fueled in no small part by a sense that the tide has turned both culturally and politically against those seeking to keep the world.
Yes, we were like, if you rewind the tape the entire time, you're like, oh no, when is she coming back? Please, I hope she comes back. With Bubbles. Is that Bubbles hair?
Small part by a sense that the tide has turned both culturally and politically against those seeking to keep the word out of the popular lexicon. But the battle lines are not as clear as one might think.
Is that for retard or gay? Gay. No, actually, I agree. See, that's exactly where my mind went. Because we're talking about retard, and he said ear biter, but I was thinking pillow biter. He just said Danny and Parker are such femboys. They're lady boys. That's what they are. Yep.
Those seeking to keep the word out of the popular lexicon, but the battle lines are not as clear as one might think.
Oh, my apologies. Equality said getting bent out of shape over bad words is fucking religious behavior. Dilly to that. And then, yeah, that's why I'm saying. And then he says Danny is reacting more responsibly. You didn't see the early or the very beginning of it. He was not acting reasonably. He's just been more quiet now, which is why I don't think that he feels the need to distance himself from Parker, because he's like, yeah, Parker's doing a great job. I agree with everything he's saying.
Against those seeking to keep the word out of the popular lexicon, but the battle lines are not as clear as one might think. And there's no doubt that's true. I mean, what is your view about this?
Shout out to all the members. We've got a story for the after party.
I mean, we got to remind ourselves why people like us are not,
you know, the better ones, is what he means.
Against use of the R word, and especially in public places, right?
Yeah.
It's because it was a term, I believe, like technical term for mentally disabled people, and we don't want to demean those people or accidentally offend people that have children or relatives or friends that are mentally disabled, right?
Yeah, because that's, again, not what we're talking about. You know how before, when you're saying, yeah, that's not the pride that we're talking about. That's not the retard we're talking about.
Right. And so it has that connotation, unlike the word dog. When Jesus used the term dog, right, there's no such connotation, right? You'll have to be reminded of why it's considered to be a slur, right?
Okay, so then why don't you tell me? I would love to know. You know, as Behave said before, with atheists talking about scripture, I try not to do that. I will reference it vaguely if it comes up, but I try not to do that because it's been a long time since I read the Bible. And, you know, I did grow up as a Christian, but that doesn't mean that, you know, I remember everything as it was intended. And, I mean, a strong argument could be made that a big reason why I'm an atheist is because I misunderstood parts of the Bible. You know, that's an argument that you can make. I don't think so. But point is that I wouldn't make these strong claims that he is making. So let's take a quick break. If you guys are enjoying the show, the party rages on 24/7 over in our Discord. The link is pinned to the top of the chat and is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And guys, it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below that video and hit that join button. Starts at $2.99. There's a few different tiers, but $2.99 will get you in. It gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full Discord server. So we've got the free chat that is open to anyone. Anybody can join and talk. But as you can see, that is just one of our channels. There's a bunch of different channels here, including our disciple chat for members only, our word of the day watch party, where we're talking about all this stuff. And of course, we have the voice channel here, where we are hanging out at this moment. Shout out to everybody in the Discord server. Say hello and tell them to come and join.
Hello, come and join.
There you go, guys. Simple as that. See you there. And of course, remember, it is for members only. But if you join today, the link is pinned at the top of the chat. You can join for free, and you will get a day pass for our after party. We know Nick has a story for us, and there's definitely no rules like on YouTube. We can definitely say retard and the N word and the S word and the C word and all of that stuff. And guys, also, please don't forget about our SWOGO. I am puny. You need to bulk me up. 15 supers of any amount or $50 total. And of course, every single donation comes with a treat for Morty. Thank you so much, guys.
Right. There's no such connotation, right? You'll have to be reminded of why it's considered to be a slur, right? I mean, it's like you forgot.
Yeah, but so is like the word. So is the.
So I would be like, okay, then what did Jesus mean when he said that?
Word moron. So is the word moron. The word moron had a really negative societal connotation, and it still does, and people use it all the time, just in lieu of the word retard. They'll just say you're a moron instead of you're a retard. It's like hang on. You're begging. Hang on. You're picking and choosing. Yeah, you're picking and choosing which thing to be selectively offended by. You're not. I don't. So like, let me ask you guys this honestly. I want you guys to answer me fucking honestly. Does the word retard actually offend you?
Yes. I think it's fucked up for you to use. I've been very clear.
Does it actually offend you, Danny?
No, it doesn't. I mean, maybe. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think that they feel. So I think they get triggered by it, but I don't think they're actually offended by it. And I'll tell you the difference. Like, if I say butt plug, you're gonna be like, whoa, what the fuck? That doesn't. You're not offended by that. If I was gonna say, hey, I want to use a butt plug on you, then you're gonna be like, yo, get the fuck out of here. But just the word itself, butt plug, you might be not necessarily triggered, but you're gonna have a reaction to that. That's not the same thing. They have a reaction to the word retard. They have a reaction to the notion that trans people are the gender they were born. Actually, that one might actually be more, but specifically retarded. I think it is just a mix of the performative nature of everything they do, we've talked about, and the brain rot, for lack of a better term, where they think that being like having that emotional reaction is the same as being personally offended.
Actually offend you?
Yes. I think it's fucked up
Danny,
for you to use. I've been
does
very
it actually
clear.
offend you, Danny, when somebody says,
yes.
Wait a minute.
Hey, man, whatever you do in your own bedroom is not my business.
Yeah, it does.
So
does,
if Zach
especially in public
Galifianakis,
places and professional places.
so Zach
like this.
Galifianakis does some when he does comedy and he does a movie and he makes a joke and says retort, is that also bad?
I'm confused the context of what you're referencing. Is he specifically trying to
No, wait a
refer to
minute.
the
Now- so
R slur?
now
If he is,
context
then
matters.
yes.
So now the
Yeah, he's
context
trying to
matters.
allude to the word retard.
I don't. Okay, then yes, that's wrong.
Yes, that's
Okay.
wrong.
I thought you.
So what's the difference between retort and R slur? What's the difference? What's the meaningful difference in the offense that you take if I say retort to mean retard, or if I say the R slur? Now, if they're consistent, then they would say both are equally as offensive as the word itself, because it's the intent that matters. But they're not smart enough to say that, and they don't actually believe what they're saying.
It's the word retard.
I don't. Okay, then yes, that's wrong.
Yes, it's wrong.
I thought.
So I said I actually wrote the word butt plugs this morning as a razz on bullets for teeth, then called him butt plugs for teeth. Whatever happened to that guy? I don't remember. What is this deal? I know there was a thing, and then he got mad about something, but I don't remember. Is he a Christian? Oh no, he's the fucking black pill dudes, right? That's right. Yeah, we're so cool because we don't talk to women ever. Dylan Soup said liberal men don't understand humor. Fitting, since their female identifying counterparts and partners lack humor as well. True. Buck said, I don't take any offense, even if it's diverted at me. I'm just chill like that. I've seen you get offended in Discord. I don't know, man. Or maybe you just got triggered. I don't know. Yeah, that's all that will take him.
Allude to the word retard.
I don't. Okay, then yes, that's wrong.
Equality only. Not going to say the full name specifically for Ty. Equality says, Ty, do you watch Hammerhand? I have no idea what that is, but just relay in the message.
Yes, it's wrong.
I thought you were saying like
any,
someone.
any
I thought you
word
were.
that references another word now is wrong, like moron.
So specifically, in terms of the one I thought you were referencing like someone responding to an argument.
Yes.
I thought the particular term that you
No,
were using.
Zach Galifianakis in a comedy movie saying retort
I
as a
understand.
joke instead of retard.
So if your
Yeah, and
friend
I think
says
that's
to
incredibly
Parker,
fucked up to use.
Okay, so now also
It's not just fucked up. It's incredibly fucked up to say retort. Okay, dude.
so any word that refers to the word retard is now wrong, like moron.
I think if you're intentionally specifically trying to use a word right in place specifically of the R slur, specifically as
Whoa. But you literally just did that. You specifically used a word in the place of the word retard. You literally did it. In the same way that Papa John was saying we should not say the N-word, and then everybody got mad at him because he actually said it, you have now extended that to any word that is directly replacing that. and replacing what? Retard. And what did you say? The R slur, which does what? Specifically replaces it. You cannot make this shit up.
Up to use.
Okay, so now also
listen to him. Like, listen to it. It's he's doing it as he's saying it. As he's saying it.
Any word that refers to the word retard is now wrong, like moron.
I think if you're intentionally specifically trying to use a word right in place specifically of the R slur, specifically as to create the same type of outcome as the R slur.
So any word that
okay, all right, fair enough. I mean, he said it to you know, to harm somebody, whatever. But like, then what is the how do we understand that that's even bad if we can't even reference it? Ty said, I know of him, but don't listen to his sermons.
The word retard is now wrong, like moron.
I think if you're intentionally specifically trying to use a word right in place specifically of the R slur, specifically as to create the same type of outcome as the R slur.
So any word that could refer to that
particular
word is now
intention,
wrong.
I think that particular intention would.
So you can't say the word moron. So now you can't
say the word moron.
You don't necessarily have that intention. It doesn't meet the particular threshold of harm as well.
How do you know what someone's intention is?
Spiraling into insanity because
that's not. I gave two conditions to separate it. I gave two conditions. Wait, it being subjective is not a critique.
Your conditions are arbitrary.
Wait. It being subjective is not a critique. That's not a critique against the view.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's not. How is that a critique?
Yes, it is. If something's purely subjective, then I can come with all the same claims with all the same.
Bro, what are you doing? That's like incredibly fucked up.
Same force, and there's no way to resolve the two. That's why purely subjective arguments fail.
Yes, but to be fair, he did add another thing that said, you know, trying to cause harm. So I stopped it. I thought I had a good moment there because he literally did. But he said a direct replacement for the word and trying to cause harm from it.
The same claims with all the same force, and there's no way to resolve the two. That's why purely subjective arguments fail.
Wait, there not being a resolution, particularly between the moral disagreement of me and you, isn't a critique, particularly of my perspective.
Then you can't say anything is morally wrong. There's no ought from an is.
Wait, I can say something is morally wrong under my perspective. You're misunderstanding subjective morality.
You're not giving
you
I have a question. Why it's
right, but you're just saying I think it's wrong, and that's it. So okay, you think some things are wrong, like saying the word retard. We think that naked men dancing in the street in front of children is wrong, and you don't. It's all subjective.
Wrong morally, objectively, if I can also counter it.
Yeah, no, not just changing the actor, but race swapping him. A black Snape. Why? At this point, I think they are doing this type of stuff just because they want liberals who are kind of wishy-washy on Harry Potter because of J.K. Rowling. They do the race swap and make it a culture war issue. And now they're like, oh, rah, rah, Harry Potter because of the black Snape. I mean, what else could there possibly... it specifically says in the text that he has white, silly skin. Bro, I saw this. Is this fucking... I saw Ryan Gosling. This has to be rage bait. There's no way... All right, we're taking a full side quest. And... Because I saw that. And I don't believe that at all. So... Let's start with Google. Are they really going to replace Black Panther with Ryan Gosling? There's no way. There's no way. Okay. No. Marvel's not guessing. Ryan Gosling is a Black Panther. New Black Panther. A white boy named Katema. Oh, Jesus. The new Black Panther in the MCU, yeah. So let's do, according to the root. Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus! Before you all get an uproar, believe us when we say there's more to this new Black Panther than you know, like his skin color. All right, let's see. This isn't one of those things where, you know, why it's always the articles that I want to read that don't have the thing where you can just play it and they read it out. But anyway, new Black Panther in town, but he's clearly not from your tribe. But don't worry, fans, there's a bit more to this story than you might realize. Now, before we get into this, I do want to establish that I am equally as annoyed of race swapping to a white person when it's clearly supposed to be a black person, and vice versa. It's not about no, we can't give black people roles. It's about no. This character is already well established to be a certain thing, and you're changing it for stupid reasons. I don't know why I keep doing this, but as well, King T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman passed away. R.I.P. Shuri took up the mantle. Nakia. As many wondering who'd be the next Black Panther. Would it be Shuri and Baku, Adult Toussaint, or someone else? Well, it appears we finally got your answer, just not in the way or where we were expected. Just give me the fucking thing. Who's the guy? Show me the fucking picture. Really? There's no fucking picture? Jesus Christ. She parted to a... Oh. So now we'll get a different link. So, all right. Okay, hey, hold on. If there is source material for this, I don't like that, but I do like that they are going to be sticking with it. So, T'Challa, this is from when? This is from a couple days ago. Okay, well, nobody gives a shit about this. Flashback to T'Challa's marriage to Storm. Okay. Pregnant with a boy. So, this name keeps coming up. So, actor playing... I knew I saw this. Like, I knew I saw this from like semi-real places. But like, I mean, okay, you know what? I mean, I'm over this. I don't care. But just as stupid. Just as stupid. What have we got from you guys? Shout out to Josie. Welcome to the party. Come on now. Welcome. Amanda said there's been a bunch of backlash about the black actor, and now the rumor is that the black actor is out and they're getting someone else. All right, there we go. Yep. Didn't they make Jesus into a black lesbian in a film? That's kind of funny. Matthew said it's in the books, I guess. Okay, the original was replaced after his death with a white boy from Africa. All right. I mean, hey, if it's there, then it's there. Then it's not the same thing. But the fact that they're doing that is now going to establish a break in the culture war aspect, where it is always bad when they race swap black people, but it's not bad when they race swap white people because, you know, source material. All bullshit. What is equality saying over here? So the word retard makes Parker's vagina hurt. Blade is supposed to be black and Nick Fury was supposed to be white. Guess which one they changed? I mean, Sam Jackson fucking killed that shit though. So, you know. All right, let's dive back in.
So ought from an is.
Wait, I can say something is morally wrong under my perspective. You're misunderstanding subjective morality.
You're not giving
you
wait, I have a question. Tell me why it's wrong morally, objectively, if I can also counter it.
So both are correct. Just because you are saying that my morality is subjective doesn't mean that I can't say things are right and wrong. But the fact that my morality is subjective is not an argument as to why something is right or wrong or amoral for that fact.
Can I ask you this question? Do you think that morality is true dependent upon God's stance or independent of God's stance?
Ultimately, it's ground.
Wait. Do you think that morality is true dependent upon God's stance or independent of God's stance?
I would assume that y'all would have to say dependent on God's stance, but I would say independent of God's stance. Right. That's Parker for you. What do you guys say? So actually, we'll what is it?
So counter it.
Can I ask you this question? Do you think that morality is true dependent
or
God's stance or independent of?
Okay, dependent. Morality is blank on God's stance. Dependent. Is it dependent or dependent? Dependent. Independent. Independent. What you say? What you say? Yeah, we all know better. Claudia said, can't argue with Sam Jackson being cool. I just don't like the wanton fuckery. But again, I don't think that I don't necessarily think that was egregious, because there is a reason that person was chosen. It wasn't let's find a black one and then Sam Jackson fits. We're like, yo, Sam Jackson would be awesome in this film. I mean, he happens to be black and Nick Fury in the comics is white. That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing as the fucking Under the Sea bullshit. Not the same thing. We've got 2 votes. Give me 2 more votes and we will keep going. 2 more votes and we will keep going. And in the meantime, let's do this. If you guys are enjoying the show, the party rages on 24/7 over in our Discord. The link is pinned to the top of the chat and is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And guys, it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below that video and hit that join button. It starts at $2.99. There's a few different tiers, but $2.99 will get you in and gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full Discord server. So we've got the free chat that is open to anyone. Anybody can join and talk, but as you can see, that is just one of our channels. There's a bunch of different channels here, including our disciple chat for members only, our word of the day watch party, where we're talking about all this stuff, and of course, we have the voice channel here, where we are hanging out at this moment. Shout out to everybody in the Discord server. Say hello and tell them to come and join. Money, please. There you go, guys. Simple as that. See you there. All right. So Ty is saying, I can't answer the poll. I don't understand. So do you think morality is something right because God says something, because God says it's right, or regardless of whether God says it's right, it's right? So if you think the first one, then you would say dependent. If you would say the second one, then it's independent. So if we say action X is wrong, can that be true if God says X is not wrong? So is it connected to God's stance on it? Because here we're talking about the subjectivity, where Parker thinks that saying retard is wrong, and we think that naked men in public is wrong. So the question is, does God's position on it depend on how you see morality? I'm just a poor boy. Yeah. What are you talking about? Action X is never right or wrong. It's Schrodinger's X. There you go. There you go. Where is Zippy?
Also counter it.
Can I ask you this question? Do you think that morality is true dependent upon God's stance or independent of God's stance?
So 60% of you said it don't really matter what God says. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Very interesting.
Ultimately, it's grounded in God.
Okay, so it's subjective.
God is a subject. Yeah, God is a subject.
No, that's not a subjective argument. The argument.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Just because you think it's subjective doesn't make it so. Unless you can prove God exists and what God's will is, then it is subjective. It is merely what you believe.
It's a subject. Yeah, God is a subject.
No, that's not a subjective argument. The argument.
God is a
the argument is that it's objective.
God's
the fact that a person makes an argument doesn't make the argument subjective. Your argument
God is a
pure
subject.
No, the argument isn't subjective. Your morality is subjective.
subjectivism.
Is God a
Two
subject?
different things. It's a category error.
Is God a
How's that a
subject?
category error?
It's two different categories. A subjective
Throw it away.
argument.
We're
for ethics
we're
is
two different people too, right?
Different
How's
than
it
a
relevant,
person
right?
who's a subject making an argument. Those are two different.
The point is that God is a
categories.
subject; he's not an object, right? We're subjects, right? We understand morality in terms of God. In fact,
you're equivocating again.
Look, can we bring this
The
back
fact
to the
that
point
God
here?
doesn't
No,
believe
no,
in
no,
anything
no,
is
you wanna
not
run away.
objective. That's
No, you
idiotic.
can't.
Wait, God.
Oh, Amanda in the Discord gave us this video. Black Snake was fired from Harry Potter. I guess we're gonna have to watch that in the after party.
We bring this
The
back
fact
to the
that
point
God's
here.
I mean, there's been a lot going on. He hasn't really needed to say much.
No.
He's just sitting back and collecting the money.
No, you want to run away.
No, you can't.
Wait, God having his particular view on morality is no different than me having my view because we're both subjects.
The
Can you tell me
argument
what
is
a subject
that it's an objective
What is it, Jay? What is the
morality.
subject? Jay, what is the subject?
You're equivocating on the fact
What
that
is the
a
subject?
subject is making an argument versus the
do you
argument
think
being
objective
subjective.
No, you said
That's a
Right. No, that's the. Projection. That's the mistake that you're making. Just like Parker's belief that retard or anything that refers to retard is evil, just because that's not based in an objective reality, that is a subjective thing. But it is objectively true that he is offended by the word retard. You understand the difference?
equivocating on the fact
What
that
is the
a
subject?
subject is making an argument versus the
do you
argument
think
being
objective
subjective.
No, you said
That's a philosophical category error.
Jay, I
This
asked you
is
if
like
it's
talking
true.
to children.
I asked you.
It's a
I asked you- I
category
asked you-
error, you idiot.
I gave you the youth throw dilemma. I asked you if it's true dependent upon a stance or independent of a stance. You said it's dependent upon God's stance. That's subjective by
No,
definition.
I said that the argument for Christian ethics is not a subjectivist ethic, and because God is a subject, it doesn't make the system subjective. That's an equivocation error on
subjective
your
means?
part.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, maybe I'm stupid, but if you're saying the basis of your morality is subjective, how is that objective morality? Because even if you think that it is independent of what God says, that if killing somebody is wrong, but then if God tells you to kill somebody, it's still wrong, which I would believe. I'm very surprised that you also believe that, unless y'all didn't understand the question. But that's what they believe. And if that's the case, then you're just using that subject of God to ground as your foundational your foundational point.
Because God is a subject, it doesn't make the system subjective. That's an equivocation.
Literally
on your
does.
part.
It literally does.
What is subjective?
Purely
mean?
relative to the individual.
Okay, is God an
true
individual?
dependent upon a stance.
Is God an individual?
That doesn't
No, he's three individuals.
mean that the ethic is subjective. It's
Just
an
answer the
objective
question.
ethic. You're
Is
just
God an
rephrasing.
individual?
You're substituting the word individual for subject.
I'm asking you if God is an individual.
you
Yes
did.
or no, coward?
That doesn't mean that the ethics is subjective.
Yes.
Not looking good, Jay. Just answer the question and then tell him why it's a stupid question if it is a stupid question. Dodging questions is never the right answer.
I'm
Never.
asking you if God is an individual.
you
Yes
did.
or no, coward?
That doesn't mean that the ethics is subjective.
Yes.
That's
Okay, then just answer the question.
Or
a
no?
system and
Who's running now?
It's an
Is God an
epistemological
individual?
argument that's
Just answer the
different
question.
from.
Let me bring
subject.
Andrew.
This is a
Andrew, you wanted
basic
to.
mistake.
Andrew, you wanted to get in here.
Jay's getting cooked, so he's
What
got
are
to
you
get
gonna
him
say?
out. Jay's getting cooked.
You're making.
I hate Parker. I hate Parker so much. Oh my God, he's getting cooked, chat. He's getting cooked, chat. We're all watching the conversation. I know your cohort needs to be told exactly what to think, but most people can just watch and think for themselves. Now, this is my opinion. Churches should accept the gays, but not promote homosexuality. No pride flags or sermons about being gay. Accept the sinner, not the sin.
Bingo.
That's what I thought. The deaf mute guy? That's Piers Morgan. Apparently on this one.
Andrew, you wanted
basic
to.
mistake.
Andrew, you wanted to get in here.
Jay's getting cooked, so he's
what
got
were
to
you
get
gonna
him
say?
out. Jay's getting cooked.
You're making a dumb
Dodge the
mistake of
question.
language.
Hang on. Let Andrew come in, please.
Yeah. So I mean, this is kind of obfuscating from the point.
Oh, come on. Really quick, guys. We are past the 2.5 hour mark. If you would like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it. Let's rage.
Yeah. So I mean, this is kind of obfuscating from the point. What does any of that have to do with the point of retard? So, and
He
you being
brought up
offended by
subjective
the
morality.
word.
Are you listening?
Yeah,
What?
can you hang on? I'm talking to Parker, not you, Danny. Calm down.
I'm
Wait,
talking
you've
to
been
you,
cutting
Buster.
people off this whole
I
time.
don't understand.
Did he just call him Buster? Did he say, I'm talking to you, Buster? Did I mishear that? He didn't say that, right?
Yeah,
What?
can you hang on? I'm talking to Parker, not you, Danny. Calm down.
I'm
Wait,
talking
you've
to
been
you,
cutting
Buster.
people
I
off this
He called him Buster. I'm talking to you, Buster.
whole
I
time.
don't understand. I don't understand. Parker, when a friend of yours comes over and he says something to you, like you're in private, and he's like, hey, hand me that. And he tosses it and you miss it. And he goes, you retard. You literally stop the kind. You go, don't say that. It's very offensive. Do you say that? It's very offensive.
I think they do, but going back to our earlier point, I don't think they actually feel the need to do that. I think they feel the need, or rather, I think they feel that other people would look at them and expect them to feel the need to say, hey, that's so wrong. And thus, they do it as a performance, a virtue signaling performance.
Really don't like it when you say, do you dress him down, Parker? If you have someone who calls you a retard in a friendly way?
I'm sorry, my mic cut out, so I couldn't hear you.
Your mic cut out, so you couldn't hear him.
I want to post something to Andrew.
If you have a friend, shut up, Danny. If you have a friend, Parker, and your buddy comes over and he
Piers like that
tosses you something, and you drop it, and he's like, you retard. You dress him down?
He was about to say Bob Saget.
Do you go, I can't believe it. You called me a retard.
Why?
Yes. That's hurting other people's feelings. But who's around, Parker? Who's around to be Parker? Who's around to be offended except you? Who's around to be offended but you?
That doesn't change whether or not I think it's wrong.
Yeah, so I don't understand.
Let Danny respond. Danny?
I want to give Andrew a hypothetical. Suppose there's this unknown society where if you show this signal, everyone's extremely offended. They'll get very angry, like people get angry at typical slurs like the N-word, right? Would you go around just doing this?
Logic? The Vulcan sign for logic.
Do you understand the hypothetical?
What are you posing a hypothetical?
So imagine you go to a
can you use really small words, bro?
Okay, imagine a hypothetical, right, where you're going to a society you don't know about, but all you know is if you do this.
I'm imagining a hypothetical.
Let me finish. You didn't understand hypothetical, so I'm having to repeat it. So let me finish.
Yeah, repeat it. Use small words.
Let's say this signal is extremely offensive in that society, really offends people. Would you go around just doing this to troll people, or would you not?
I don't think in the same way you posed. Oh no, that was Parker. I was going to say in the same way Parker posed the question to JVP. Like, you wouldn't lie to save your family? I don't know if he knows who he's talking to.
Is extremely offensive in that society, really offends people. Would you go around just doing this to control people, or would you not do it?
And I would just do this and say this in the moment just to prove the point. Whether or not I would or would not, I would just do it to prove the point that it doesn't fucking matter. That yes, I will say whatever the fuck I want to say. As it's been said many times in the chat, offense is taken, not given.
Extremely offensive in that society, really offends people. Would you go around just doing this to troll people, or would you not do it?
Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you think he's just saying, yeah, boom, or whatever it is with a fucking bullshit. I don't know. I think he is. I mean, he said it's a layup. He's serving this to you on a silver fucking platter, bro. A silver fucking platter. Take the layup. Please, for all of us.
I would definitely tell him to live long and prosper, bro.
Okay, you're just not engaging in the hypothetical. You're not a serious person.
What do you mean? That is serious.
Is that what I'm trying to illustrate is that if a term really offends a friend of someone, right, or if you're or a family member or something like that, why would you use the term?
Well, let me know next time. Then I'm gonna spend hours fucking watching 7 different podcasts before I pick one.
But to piss them off.
The trouble is that we've got to a place in our society where the language police are now so out of control that we can't even use the word in hospitals, mother, because somebody who is a trans.
Oh my God! Hold on! Whoa! Did anybody just catch how perfectly accurate my title of this has just become? The title of this stream: Why Men Are Leaving. Andrew Wilson and Jay Dyer versus Limp Wrist Libs.
Which police?
Look at Parker. Parker. So he's got his hand up like his little Bob Saget.
Is that we've got to a place in our society
and
where the language police are now so out.
He's holding up his own hand. He can't do this, so he has to do this. What are you up
to control? That we can't even use. We can't even use.
Wait, Piers. Wait. Don't you see that I know it's your show and that you're in the middle of talking, but I have something to say, and that's more important than anything.
The word in hospitals, mother, because somebody who is a trans person, trans man, who's having a baby objects
You ain't trying to keep the party going? God damn.
to the word mother. And that's the problem with language police, is that if there's no natural societal limitation to it, it's never ending. Somebody somewhere will always be offended by a word somewhere. And at the moment in society, it's like there are 1,000 words that upset people. That's my problem with it.
And Danny, what do you do in that
okay,
same
wait, no, let me
hypothetical if half the
respond.
people mean it a different way?
Parker, you
$3 for half an hour, guys. Come on.
want to
Come on.
respond to that?
No, I want to respond to this.
Three of you can hit 99 cents. I know you're not that fucking broke. I know you're not that fucking broke. Come
Christians
on.
get oftentimes very angry about specific terms you use, whether it be in the context of their particular beliefs, whether it be transubstantiation, calling them a cannibal, specifically under their view, if it is the case that they think it's the actual like body and blood of Christ that they're eating specifically within and drinking within communion, right? That us calling them a cannibal, they get really, really angry with, or us blaspheming the Holy Spirit, they get really angry with.
And you don't.
Yeah, because that's stupid, because you don't actually believe that they're eating human flesh. They're eating a fucking cracker and drinking wine. That's not cannibalism. It doesn't matter if you believe that a cracker is a human being, just like it doesn't matter if you believe that a man is a woman. Things are what they are. Hey, shout out to our boy, Box in the building. Everybody better put Box in the chat right fucking now. Not just one. Come on, you lazy fuck. There's literally an inch and a half. Jesus Christ. And again, no question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Box has been the only one, guys. The only one. He is carrying you all. He is carrying you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So very, very much out sponsoring yourself. Thank you very, very much, sir.
Us calling them a cannibal.
We're almost done here, so we might that may take us to the cash hotel stuff, but I can't
They
promise.
get really, really angry with, or us blaspheming the Holy Spirit,
already.
They get really angry with.
And you don't seem to care about doing that, do you?
They're no, I don't. They're the tone police. Yeah,
right.
You guys don't talk. You guys don't talk about
that.
No, it's not, because I'm not a Christian.
Yeah,
I don't hold those perspectives.
Yeah, but
hang on. That's okay. Hang on. That is fascinating. So,
Yeah,
in other
exactly.
words, you don't mind doing the slur against Andrew over
It's
things he
Christians.
cares very
That is
passionately
a
about his
slur.
religion because
Because
you
it's
don't
purely
share
subjective.
his religion.
Wait,
Therefore, you can't offend him.
Because he doesn't like it in the same way that you don't like retard and it's disgusting. He can say the same thing about the word cannibal. Just prove it. And it doesn't matter that he doesn't actually believe that. It's your logic that says, if I feel this way, it must be true. Jay did it first, but Parker did it worse.
Religion because
Because
you
it's
don't
purely
share
subjective.
his religion.
Wait,
Therefore, you can't offend him. Therefore, you can't offend him.
How is that a slur?
He said, would you use the
No,
word
no.
cannibal? You said,
The
yeah, you wouldn't
point-
care.
wait,
That's not a slur. That's not a slur.
Hang on.
It
A
is to
slur-
him.
They just
hang on.
redefine
No, it's
it. It is
not.
You just explained how it is directly offensive to them. So it may not be an established slur, but what is the purpose of something being categorized as a slur? It's a word that, in your words, causes harm. And you just said they get mad when you call them cannibals. So you're causing harm. Why is it okay for you to cause harm with words, but not other people to cause harm with words that you don't like? Rules for thee, not for me. And let's give it 2. No principles, just positions.
Cannibal, you said,
The
yeah, you
point-
wouldn't care.
wait,
That's not a
hang on,
slur.
the
That's
point-
not a slur.
Hang on.
It
A
is to
slur-
him.
They just
Hang on.
redefine
It is to him.
Anything.
A slur was
Parker,
what offended
Parker.
people. What offended people. It
See,
was
so
supposed to be
hang
what
on. So
offended
Parker,
people.
So yeah, so again, this is one of those places where it doesn't really matter if it's a slur or not. The fact is, it's offensive in the context of what he would call retarded. So it fits in the same category. So like, fine, it's not a slur, but it's still offensive. So why is it okay to use offensive words, but it's not okay to use slurs?
you decide
whatever
what.
offends is the
Hang on, just to be clear, Parker, you are the slur monitor, are you? You decide what isn't a slur,
Ad hoc.
and therefore
I'm sorry.
you,
All
Parker,
definition.
can say what the fuck you like, long as you have
Dumbass
decided
Parker.
it's not a slur. You see the flaw in the argument.
It's all
Here's,
ad hoc.
obviously we have definite.
And now watch. They're both gonna get all high and mighty, be like, "Oh, you don't understand, okay?"
Obviously, we have definitions on what slurs are. I don't know why that's a confusing thing to you. Do you have a definition? Obviously, you have a definition.
All right, let's get the definition and see if it actually does fit. Because I agree. I don't think cannibal is a slur, but for the purposes of excuse me, for the purposes of the discussion, it's functionally the exact same thing. Whether it's a slur or it's an offensive term, I think is a difference without a distinction.
Slur.
Words or speech indistinctly so that the sound. Oh no, okay, like, to slur your words. But so the noun of slur. So that's two. That's the verb. So the noun, an insinuation or allegation about someone that is likely to insult them or damage their reputation. You know, like calling someone a cannibal for eating crackers. Now, yeah, they believe they are eating human meat. Fine, that's ridiculously silly. But that doesn't change the fact that is an insinuation or allegation about someone that is likely to insult them or damage their reputation, aka, in the words of Parker, cause harm. It's okay for me to cause harm. It's not okay for you to cause harm. Or the kind of harm that I cause is totally okay because reasons, but any kind of harm that you could cause to me is not okay because reasons. Nick said, I'd say cannibal is a bigger slur than any of the words we've been talking about. Now that's coming from another atheist. And I agree.
We have definitions.
I mean, yeah, really. Let's make that a poll. Would you rather actually be known? I think I have to edit myself. No, we'll do it. Would you rather be known as a retard or a cannibal? I'll let you guys decide. Hey, shout out to Cody Brooks in the building. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you, sir. Said words can't cause harm because they adapt. Example, retard, queer. 2 words coming back by ignoring the offense and not taking the offense. More words to come. The Bob Saget word is coming back. That's one of my favorite words, and it will come back. Welcome to the party, Cody Brooks.
It's all ad
Here's,
hoc.
obviously we have definitions on what slurs are. I don't know why that's a confusing thing to you. Do you have a definition? Obviously you have a definition.
I would say saying to a Christian that he's a cannibal because of communion or whatever, I think is utterly offensive. Yeah, and a slur. You don't, because you don't share the religion. Therefore, you, language monitor Parker, have decided it's not a slur. And so as long as you don't think it's a slur, and this is my problem with your generation, is that you're so easily offended, except when you're offending everybody else.
Wait, if it genuinely is the case that it leads to a particular level of harm that I would say meets my particular threshold of harm, I would...
My particular threat. Why do we care about your particular threshold of harm? Why you have not established, like, maybe there is a reason why your threshold is so much more important than everybody else's. I'm willing to accept that. But you don't get to use that as an axiom. Prove it. I'm willing.
If it genuinely is the case that it leads to a particular level of harm that I would say meets my particular threshold of harm, I would say we shouldn't use that term. All I was doing is describing specifically there are terms and words Christians think are very harmful to them.
Well, cannibalism is a criminal offense.
Listen.
Well, Parker, there's a lot more Christians than
cannibalism is a crime.
You're
retarded cannibal does mean that you're vegetarian. That's a good one.
Accusing it of him of being a criminal.
No, actually, you're equivocating because I'm using their own definition of the term cannibal specifically because it is the case that you're equivocating. Because that's not, I don't think it's actually like the body and blood of Christ. So they didn't actually, in a meaningful sense, violate any laws. Does that make sense?
And I don't think I'm actually calling somebody mentally, slow when I say retard either, Parker. So what?
It still meets a particular threshold of...
to you.
Harm that I would
Oh,
consider.
okay. Well, it
as
meets the
a-
threshold of harm to
personal
me when you
subjective
call him.
threshold.
Yeah.
All right, we've got to leave
Okay,
it
well,
there.
then-
It's been-
Yep, that's it. Margaret needs to go through the dictionary and pick which words we can use.
been a fascinating clash of.
Andrew.
Hang on, no, we got to leave it there. It's been a great clash of cultures. I think we should do this again.
I feel bad for Box because he's been the only one. So I'm thinking maybe I just covered what I was going to cover for Box in the after party. What do we think? Fuck it. Fine, you fucking retards. What am I looking for? It'll just take 2 minutes, but I mean, I don't even remember. What am I looking for? Cash Patel.
I think both. sides.
Cash Patel. Shout out to Liberty Vault, who got the perfect
Every single
moment. So Cash Patel was on Joe Rogan, and well, actually, before we do that, let's do you probably saw Cash Patel and Dan Bongino. Was this it? The one where they're like, yeah, oh, this one. So we're not going to do the whole thing, obviously, but actually, let's do this. What are we doing? What are we doing? I guess that's the FBI telling us they don't want to hear what we've got to say. I was joking. There we go. Let's see, where are we?
This answer. You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. Again, you want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
So why can't we see the whole file? And so there was a lot of like, trust me, bro. And then, so yeah, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Whenever he was on and they were talking about it. And long story short,
every single camera in the place was working. I'm saying we've got footage and you're getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can make up your own mind.
So one of the most stunning news revelations that's come out in the last 24 hours is Cash Patel on the Joe Rogan Experience saying not only does cell video footage exist from Epstein's cell at the time in which he killed himself, right, which many Americans do not believe, but also that the FBI is going to release that footage to the populace so that they can make their own minds. I think he's omitting a very key point of information here. So let's clarify, let's watch, and let's react. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
I've said it. Dan Bongino said it. We've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion.
So really quickly, our poll shows that even though Parker's threshold has retard way higher, a largely but not fully Christian chat here is saying, well, I would rather be known as a retard than a cannibal.
This.
Sounds like a slur, at least in function to me.
Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities, or
I don't know. I didn't know who the fuck you were before people were saying, hey, Cash Patel should be the leader of the FBI.
Do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on?
You mean like the FBI has been doing? I don't know.
But the problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist.
Uh-huh. But you are telling the truth.
Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you?
Again, I don't know. I genuinely do not know. You're phrasing this as if we're buddies, as if I know you. I don't fucking know you. Even the people who know you don't like, or are fans of you. They don't know you like that. There is absolutely reasons why you would see the files, you would see the footage, and there's people on there who are very powerful who are like, hey, we will fucking kill you if you put this out. It doesn't matter if you're the leader of the FBI. So I don't know. It depends on the circumstances.
If it existed, I'm working my ass off along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ to get you what we're allowed to give you.
Who's allowed by who? Allowed by who?
And you're going to get the video of
what video?
The cell. And you're going to see for yourself. And
that's what I've been hearing for 4 years.
We'll never be able to convince everyone.
Okay.
All right, so first of all, this is a little bit disingenuous in that the history is that Kash Patel actually thought there was skepticism in regard to the official narrative regarding Epstein's murder. He said clearly, though, at the beginning of this, that Epstein killed himself. But actually, again, he was skeptical of that in an interview. You can check this. It's documented with Stu Peters in 2022, where he said a lot of the circumstances don't line up to be a suicide in this case. He's clearly changed his tune since he's been the CIA or the FBI director. Also,
I mean, hey, but for all, I mean, maybe he's telling the truth and maybe we will get all of that, but don't expect me to just trust the fucking FBI. You are no longer just Kash Patel. You are Kash Patel, director of the FBI. Is it FBI, right? Not CIA, right? The FBI. Either way, you know what the fuck I mean. And again, it doesn't matter how many times I've listened to a Dan Bongino podcast, which personally is never, but other people that I respect, vouch for him. But that doesn't mean that I trust you. Even people that I watch all the time. We could talk about a Dave Smith or even a Tim Pool. I ended my membership, but I still trust his outlook on a lot of things. But just saying, thank you, Matt. But just saying, well, would I do this? I don't fucking know. That sounds like bullshit. That sounds like what a girl says when you caught her cheating. Why would I even do that? I don't know, because you want to get dicked down, you fucking whore? Why would I do that? I don't know, because you don't want to get killed by the people on the fucking list?
Also, he gets on this kind of kick about like, what would I release? If I had it, I would release it to you. But no, I don't.
Would you? Maybe. I don't know.
Think if you had videotapes of the sexual exploitation of children that those would be released, and virtually no one of sense expects them to. What we expect is that to be documented and any of the perpetrators involved in these crimes get brought to justice and get charged with the crimes they deserve.
Let's get into that. So what did you think before you got in office? Did you think that Epstein was murdered? No suspicion at all of it?
That is a lie.
But I have a different background, right?
Right.
So
What? How was that relevant?
I was a public defender back in the day.
Wait. Oh, so the only relevance would be, I had an opinion about this, and then once I got into the FBI, my opinion changed for reasons. Now, that could be changed to a good thing for good reasons, or a bad thing for bad reasons.
I used to spend a lot of time in jails and a lot of time in segregated housing units, shoes as we call them, right? And so...
Shout out to Box, already in the after party, kicking it off, making sure that we rage.
And I've known people that have committed suicide in these cells. And I know how you get in, how you get out, who works the system. And so the way, based on public information at the time, that he ended up, the pictures and him hanging himself, I was like,
so, okay.
Yeah, that guy killed himself. There's just no way that you could have run an op and had people go into that cell and not have any video of it and not have any people come out and say, hey, yeah, I saw that guy. He shouldn't have been there, the guard or this guy.
Have you heard of Google VO 3? Put one in the chat if you have no idea what I'm talking about. To suggest that the deep state, the FBI, the CIA, the entire governmental establishment couldn't pull off killing one guy and faking video. Sounds like hope. Wake Up Mind, welcome to the party, said they will never come clean because so much money came through the exploitation of people and it ties multiple world leaders together. Many people are involved, including many famous and wealthy people. That's why. So I mean, that's the long and short of it. And I'm happy that we that I found this the what the fuck is his name? Not Tucker Carlson, Piers Morgan thing. Because I don't trust it, but I don't know enough about him. I don't know enough about the thing. I don't think any of us does. But that's what makes it so goddamn frustrating. So I want to give a big shout out to Box. Thank you so very, very much for supporting the stream and the after party. My boy coming through. Thank you so very, very much. Once again, guys, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Remember, guys, every time we miss the goal, the number goes back down. If you want to bulk me up, we got to work together. It doesn't have to be somebody dropping $50. If we have 6 people dropping $4 each, then we're halfway there. We gotta make this work. I cannot do this alone. I promise that I will be here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday that I can be. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it, and dropping videos almost every day. But I cannot do this alone. I do. Unfortunately, I need your help. Unfortunately, I wish the world was free, but it is not. And I do, in fact, need your help. So a big shout out to Box. Thank you so very, very much. Hit up rich friends and tell them to watch the show, because I am getting broke and it is not fun. But either way, I very much appreciate you guys hanging out, and a big shout out to all of the disciples. Thank you once again, guys. Like I said, that is Morty. I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.